Than the right hash for a kicker because he can just push it right up through. Rich going for the field goal to win. Has this ever happened in Rich Rebel football? A field goal to win? Huffaker lined up. Oh boy, here we go. 4th down. Huffaker kicks it. It's up, and it is through. The Rebels win.
Rich Rebel football is on.
Jessen back looking to throw. Ball pops loose again at the Rebels hit him, and Riley Taylor is on it.
After a first-round exit in last year's playoffs, the Rebels return to the gridiron with hopes of taking it to the next level.
Huffaker takes the snap, throws deep, looking for Wilson, and he makes the catch in traffic at the 45 to the Altamont 40-yard line. Kyler Wilson.
Strap in and join us for Rich High School football on Rebel Radio KADQ FM 98.3 with live video streaming online at mylocalradio.com. Today's broadcast is brought to you by Auto Farm Chevrolet, Evanston Regional Hospital, by Plains Tire, the Come On In of Casper, by WESTAR Printing and Rocky Mountain Sign, by Cash Honda Yamaha of Cache Valley, by the Bear Lake Convention and Visitors Bureau, and by mylocalradio.com.
Another give to Hislop. This time he's got some room across the 50, 45.
And now, Rebel football fans.
Takes the snap, keeps it himself right up the gut, and Hislop just grabs his shoulder pads from behind and pushes him forward, and Huffaker gets out across the 20.
Hang up your hats, kick back, and get ready to run as we head to the field to join the play-by-play voice of the Rebels, Ryan STEINECKERT.
Good evening and welcome to sunny Gunnison Valley. Ryan STEINECKERT here. We're in San Pete County, and the Rebels tonight are at a homecoming for the Gunnison Valley Bulldogs. The Bulldogs celebrating a patriotic homecoming tonight. Red, white, and blue, the colors surrounding the field, and it'll be blue and white on the field as the Rebels line up in their blue and white and the Bulldogs in their blue and white. It's Rich and Gunnison Valley tonight. Kickoff is scheduled for about 40 minutes from now. In the meantime, our pregame show is presented by Rolene Kennedy, Rich County's representative at Auto Farm Chevrolet. This is Rich.
In Rich County, we know that our children are our future. Helping our kids grow into kind, productive adults is a community effort. This is Rolene Kennedy, Auto Farm Chevrolet's Rich County representative, serving my neighbors for more than 20 years. My kids are Rich High School graduates. When you need a vehicle, come and see me, new or pre-owned. I'll always treat you with respect and honesty, the Rich County way. Auto Farm Chevrolet, we're a community-driven dealer. Go Rebels!
Good evening and welcome back to Gunnison, Utah. Ryan STEINECKERT here as the Rebels are at a homecoming, the visiting team for Gunnison Valley celebrating homecoming tonight here in central Utah. And taking a look, we're on the pregame show brought to you by Rolene Kennedy at Auto Farm Chevrolet, your representative at Auto Farm Chevrolet. And moving along to our scene set presented by J-Bar Excavation. J-Bar Excavation. The team, the tools, and the experience for your excavation project. Give them a call, 435-793-5855. Rich Rebels, the visiting team, so we'll start with them. They come into this match or this ball game at 0-2, having yet to play a 1A North or a 2A North region game. I'll have to fix that. The Rebels, of course, in the 2A classification this year in football. And, again, no games yet in the 2A North, but so far 0-2 on the season. They've lost 2 games by identical scores, 40-0. Most recently, a 40-0 loss at Bear Lake, a game that Rich had a couple of drives that were productive, but neither one got close to the end zone, and they'll have to change that tonight. That's a pretty obvious statement, but Rebels to compete tonight, to hope to beat Gunnison Valley on their home field, the Rebels will have to find some offense tonight in Gunnison. So, Rich, 0-2. Looking at the Gunnison Valley Bulldogs, they come in at 0-3 on the season, 0-1 in the 2A North. Gunnison has had a tough schedule to start this season. And the Bulldogs started with a 46-8 loss against Milford. That was at Milford, or at Gunnison rather. Then they played at Kanab and lost 34-8, and then lost last week against Monticello 28-8. So the Bulldogs at 0-3, and that loss to Monticello, of course, it always sound funny to me to say that Monticello is in the 2A North, but that's just the situation. So the Bulldogs at 0-3 under new head coach Patrick King in his first year coaching this Bulldogs team. And if you break down the numbers, points allowed, points scored, they're not faring much better than the Rebels so far. Offense has scored 8 points per game. In fact, exactly 8 points a game. They scored 8 against Milford, 8 against Kanab, 8 against Monticello, and allowing 36 points per game. Now, you can compare the Rebels' 40-0 loss against Kanab, Gunnison Valley's 34-8 loss against Kanab. And if you're interested in the Perry's Power Guide on the Deseret News, Gunnison Valley a 10.5 rating, the Rebels a 9.9. So a pretty even rating between the two teams, and the only team they've both played is Kanab, a fairly even score against the Cowboys. But the bottom line will be tonight, who comes out ready to go, and if the Rebels have made some adjustments. Now, one adjustment the Rebels will have to deal with tonight is not having Colton Hislop, I believe. Last I heard, he was not going to be playing tonight, tweaked his knee a little bit against Bear Lake and has not yet been cleared to play in tonight's game. So the Rebels changing that up. A new quarterback behind center for Rich tonight. We'll tell you more about that as we get closer to the opening kickoff. Also tonight, a couple other very interesting games on tap. Duchesne is at North Summit in 2A North Region play. And then in the south, it's Kanab at Parowan, Beaver hosting Milford, North Sevier at Enterprise, and Monticello at Millard. And, an interesting game there as Milford plays at Beaver. A couple of evenly matched teams. It looks like it'll be Beaver's defense against Milford's offense. Of course, Beaver's been very good offensively so far this season as well. Now, looking back at the history between Rich and Gunnison Valley, there isn't a history between these two teams. I looked back on my Laketown ledger and could not find a single time. In fact, I looked at it 3 times because I got through it the first time and said, wait, they didn't play? Looked through again and said, am I sure about that? And Rich and Gunnison have never played in football. So this is a first in this matchup of Rich versus Gunnison Valley here at Gunnison tonight in homecoming night for the Bulldogs. That's your scene set, brought to you by J-Bar Excavation. They have the team, the tools, and the experience for your excavation project. We've got plenty coming up in our pregame show, including the Mound Valley Cattle Company, Where Are They Now, and more. That's coming up next on the Rolene Kennedy at Auto Farm Chevrolet pregame show, The Wildlife, and MyLocalRadio.com. Every excavation project requires the professionals, the equipment, and the strategy to get the job done right. J-Bar Excavation in Randolph, Utah has the team, the tools, and the plan to execute every phase of your project to create exactly what you're looking for. They have the machinery and the experience to provide quality work that fits your schedule and your budget. Call them today, 435-793-5855. J-Bar Excavation, 90 North Main, Randolph. The best place to stay when you're in Casper, Wyoming is the Come On In Hotel and Suites. This beautiful log hotel offers 5 hot tubs, 1 pool, a fitness center, and fabulous indoor atrium. Offering jacuzzi and fireplace suites, the guest rooms are comfortable and relaxing. Plus, every stay includes a delicious extended continental breakfast. Whenever you're in Casper, stay at the best place. Come On In Hotel and Suites. Come on in today. Come On In Hotel and Suites, Casper. Welcome back to the Rolene Kennedy at Auto Farm Chevrolet pregame show. Today the Rebels face off against the Gunnison Valley Bulldogs. And from what I can find on our Laketown ledger, this is the first time that these two teams have met in Rich Rebel football history. So a first tonight in Gunnison. We're about 35 minutes away from our opening kickoff, and it's time to catch up with Rebel alum Oliver Peart, who graduated from Rich High School in 2009. This portion of the Rolene Kennedy pregame show is called Where Are They Now? And it's brought to you by Mound Valley Cattle Company, Eddie and Todd Jensen out of Thatcher, Idaho. We'll be right back with Oliver Peart on this broadcast of Rich Rebel Football on Rebel Radio and online at MyLocalRadio.com.
Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." Eddie and Todd Jensen, owners of Mound Valley Cattle Company in Thatcher, Idaho, are proud to support the Rich High Rebels in creating their own path and leaving a trail of success in athletics and in activities, in education and in life. Serving customers in Utah, Idaho, and Wyoming since 1997. Mountain Valley Cattle Company. 208-339-0614.
Ryan STEINECKERT on the Mountain Valley Cattle Company. Where are they now with Oliver Peart, a 2009 graduate of Rich High School? Oliver, thanks for your time.
No problem. Happy to be here.
I got to ask the first question, man, the mustache. You probably get that all the time, but it's great. It's like Magnum PI or something.
Yeah, I hear it a lot. I always thought I wanted one. My wife didn't like it at first, but she's come around.
It's grown on her.
Yeah, it's grown on her.
Oliver, tell me, where are you now? You mentioned a wife. Tell me more about where you are now.
So I've been married for 6 years, and we have 3 kids, a 5-year-old girl, a 3-year-old boy, and just 2 days ago had another boy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How's another boy, you said? How are mom and the little guy doing?
They're both good. Both good.
Man, that's super recent. Thanks for taking time to talk with me today. It's pretty cool. Oliver, still living in Rich County?
Yeah, that's right. We bought a house in Randolph 3 years ago and put a bunch of money into it and fixed it up, and now we're here for good. And
I understand Dad keeps you busy when he can on the ranch?
Yeah, he tries to anyways.
Let's go back a few years and talk about high school. Graduated in 2009, you said. Tell me about your days at Rich High School.
Let's see, where do we start? I was the student body vice president. It's the best job to have. And let's see, I played in the band all 4 years, wrestled all 4 years. I did cross country and track, and I played football.
You kept busy.
I was really busy in high school, yep.
Vice president was the best job because?
It's just right in the middle. I didn't have to take notes, but I didn't have to make any decisions either.
But you get a little bit of prestige being the VP.
Exactly.
So in the band, you play a few instruments?
Right, yeah. I play the piano and the bass guitar and the drums and the guitar.
Is that something you picked up in high school, or did you grow up at home taking lessons and things?
I started taking piano lessons at 6, and I got a drum set, I think, in 6th grade, and then I picked up the guitar shortly after that.
That's a lot of instruments. Are there certain songs, or does it depend on the instrument, what kind of music you like to play?
I don't know. I like playing rock and maybe, folk.
Talking with Oliver Peart on the Mountain Valley Cattle Company. Where are they now? Let's see, what else did you say? You ran cross country. Who was coaching cross country then?
So it was, I was part of the first cross country team at Rich High, and it was me and Quentin Weston. We were the only ones, I think. And so the coach was Anthony Mitchell. He was the history teacher, and we just went to region and then state. And I think that's still what they do, is just region and state.
Yeah, you mentioned playing football, so you probably couldn't go to any other meets. So cross country, how'd you do at region and state?
I think the best I did at state was 4th when I was a senior, I think. It was tough. We had, it was really competitive. There was a kid from Panguitch. His name was Track Norris, and Track Norris, he won cross country. He won the mile in track, the 2 mile, the half mile, every event that I did. He was, in fact, when we were seniors, he was the fastest. He had the fastest mile time, 1A through 5A.
That's like you name your kid Jeeves, he's going to be a butler. You name your kid Track, he better be good at track and field.
Right, so I just always lived in his shadow for cross country and track.
What about playing football with Coach Brown? You had some good teams. Did they win state title in 2009, right?
We took second when I was a junior. I think we got beat out. I think we took third or something when I was a senior.
And then you said you wrestled. Was it Coach Larson coaching then?
Yeah, it was Coach Larson and Coach Hoffman, Craig Hoffman. So, yeah, it was great. I love both of those guys.
We've talked about some of the surface stuff, like, how you did and things, but what memories do you have of playing sports and running cross-country and track and things like that? What sticks out when you look back?
Just the life lessons you learn. I think especially in wrestling, the life lessons that you learn. Because, in team sports, everybody wants to give their all, but you can rely on your teammates, and in wrestling, it's your deal. You still got a good camaraderie with your teammates, and everybody's excited when you do good, but it's all up to you.
How did you do? What weight did you wrestle at, and how were you?
When I was a senior, I wrestled 160, and I won state that year.
You stayed right about, I mean, you haven't put on a ton of weight. You stayed lean and mean.
Yeah, I've done all right.
The mustache might weigh a pound or two. We're talking with Oliver Peart, a 2009 graduate of Rich High School. And Oliver, anything else we should touch on? I haven't asked about your days at Rich High School.
No, not that I can think of. Yeah.
Any coaches or teachers who had a big influence or that you remember with particular fondness?
All of them. Every teacher at Rich High has made an impact on my life in one way or another.
That's pretty cool. Anything else about you that we haven't touched on that you think we should learn about Oliver Peart?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm. I don't know if I'm all that special. I don't know.
Your wife and kids and new baby would probably have a different opinion about whether you're special or not. But I sure appreciate your time. Anything that you want to say to anybody that may be listening today, the folks in Rich County? Anything you'd like to share?
Go Rebels.
I like it. Go Rebels. Oliver Peart on the Mound Valley Cattle Company. Where are they now? Oliver, it's been a pleasure talking with you a little bit and getting to know you just a little bit, and I wish you the best of luck with the newborn and the other kids and wife and work and everything else.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks so much, Oliver, for joining us on Where Are They Now? It's brought to you by Mound Valley Cattle Company, Eddie and Todd Jensen out of Thatcher, Idaho. When we return on the Rolene Kennedy at Auto Farm Chevrolet pregame show, we'll visit with the coaches of today's teams. That's on the Bear Lake Memorial Hospital Coaches Show when we return on Rich Rebel Football on KDQ FM 98.3 with live streaming video at mylocalradio.com. We take your fun very seriously. That's why we put so much emphasis on training and experience with our mechanics at Cash Honda Yamaha. Whether you're getting it ready for an upcoming season, putting it away for the winter, having routine maintenance, or have a mechanical problem, we want to make sure that when you're ready to have fun with it, it's ready for you. Don't trust your fun to just anyone. Make sure you bring all your service work to Cash Honda Yamaha in Cache Valley. As one of the region's most visited websites, mylocalradio.com is here to serve you. Catch up on local and regional news and information. Buy, sell, or trade your good used items on the radio classifieds. Stream your favorite music all day, every day, or catch our live coverage of your high school teams in action, all on mylocalradio.com. Like us on Facebook so you never miss a giveaway, and visit mylocalradio.com today to stream it all live.
Tuned in to Rich High Rebel Football on KADQ 98.3 and mylocalradio.com. This is Rebel Coach Justin Grohl on the Bear Lake Memorial Hospital Coaches Show. Stay tuned in. Kickoff is just 20 minutes away here on KADQ.
Welcome to the Bear Lake Memorial Hospital Coaches Show. Both these teams come in without a win on the season. The Rebels at 0-2 and the Bulldogs at 0-3 on the season. And today's a big one. It's the opening of 2A North Region play for the Rich Rebels. The Bulldogs already 0-1 in the region with a loss last week against Monticello. No one sees the game the way the coaches do, so we'll take a moment to visit with Gunnison Valley head coach Patrick King, and then we'll talk to Rebel head man Justin Grohl and get his thoughts on tonight's game. We'll be back after this from Bear Lake Memorial Hospital. Count on us to care on this broadcast of Rich Rebel Football on the Wildlife with live streaming video at mylocalradio.com.
Go Rebels!
More than 1,300 rural hospitals were evaluated, and Bear Lake Memorial Hospital placed in the top 20 for quality and best practices and critical access. Offering a 24-hour emergency department, orthopedics, home health, a residential nursing home, physical therapy, surgical services, family doctors, chemotherapy, dialysis, and more. When it comes to your health, make sure you're seen by the best. Bear Lake Memorial Hospital in Montpelier, Idaho. Count on us to care.
At Ellingford Brothers, we're known for an excellent steel shop and quality cement. We also provide other products all year round. Sand and different sizes of gravel for road base and landscaping in the summer and fall. Traction in the winter and mud control in the spring. Bark for landscaping in the summer and winterization in the fall. And topsoil. Spring, summer, and fall. Prices are always honest. Pickup or delivery. Ellingford Brothers, your year-round source for so many things. Stop in today at 221 County Road in Evanston.
Ryan STEINECKERT with Patrick King, head coach of the Gunnison Valley Bulldogs football team. Coach, thanks for your time.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for having me.
Tell me about yourself a little bit. Where are you from? How'd you end up here in Gunnison?
I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I was down there, and I've always wanted to live in the mountains, so I started looking up in this area of the country, looked at Montana, Colorado, Utah, and had a terrific job here, terrific opportunity. The signs and stars kind of lined up, and it was a great situation, and I've moved up here. I've moved 2 brothers and my mother up, and we're excited to be here and happy to be here.
Being from Florida, is it Gators, Seminoles, Hurricanes? Who are you cheering for?
Well, it's not close. We're Georgia Bulldogs, so Jacksonville's on the border, and so that's where they have the cocktail party every year, and you have the big Georgia-Florida game. So at a very young age, I decided I was a Bulldog, and so that was part of the signs that helped me realize this was the right place for me. But we're Georgia fans.
Different color from the red of the Georgia Bulldogs to the blue of the Gunnison Valley Bulldogs. Coach, can you give me a little bit of history from what you've learned about Gunnison Valley football?
Well, I think it's a rich history. It's not a lot of state championships, but it's a terrific history of grit and determination and hard work. And so we like to run the football, and recently we haven't done that, but we're returning back to our traditions of wearing blue and white and running the football. And we want to impose our will. We want to be that gritty team. And when you come in here, we want no matter who we're playing, we want it to be a fight when you come in.
Running the football, you feel like you've got the guys to implement kind of an offense that you're accustomed to and run the football heavy?
We're getting there. Every week we get better. We have some terrific running backs. Sometimes in high school you wish you could combine them all. So I have 3 terrific guys. I've got Brandon Tucker. He's my hardest runner. I've got Zach Stewart's my fastest runner. And then I've got Dylan Anderson as my lowest runner. So if I could put all 3 of those guys together, I'd be really happy. Each week we just get better, and we're usually, when I look at film, we're 1 block away from being where we need to be.
Coach, you started off with a very tough team in Milford, and they beat you, but that's a very good team. Have you seen some improvement since that first week to then losing to Kanab and then having a closer game last week with Monticello?
Well, we saw 100 positives in that game. We feel like we played them well. When you look at everybody else who's played them, we may have played them the best out of anybody they've played. We did start the season with 3 undefeated teams, and that's tough to do. But if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man, and I think that's kind of where we are. So we are seeing improvement weekly, and we are busting our tail to get there.
What kind of expectations do you have as a first-year head coach and turning this program around?
Well, what I want is for kids to become coachable, and I want us to improve in the weight room. As we do that, we're going to become much more competitive. But we're putting in our offense, we're putting in our defense, and the kids are doing really well. When it comes to wins, I want to win every single game, but I really want the kids to play for each other.
Homecoming tonight at Gunnison Valley, hosting the Rich Rebels. And how much preparation have you put into scouting Rich, looking at what they do? Is it more just about preparing for what you guys need to execute?
Well, we want to do what we do. We have an identity, and we're trying to perfect that identity. However, Rich poses a lot of challenges, so we respect them. They've only played 2 games. They've had 2 full weeks to get ready for us, so we know that. They seem to want to grind it out too. They look like they do some triple option, and so we've studied 2 films on them, and we feel that we're prepared to play.
Coach, anything else we should touch on?
Nope, not today. Thanks for having me.
Patrick King, thanks so much for your time. Head coach of the Gunnison Valley Bulldogs. Good luck today and throughout the rest of the season, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. We're only about 15 minutes away from kickoff and today's action of Rich at Gunnison Valley. You're tuned into the Bear Lake Memorial Hospital Coaches Show, and coming up on the Rolene Kennedy at Auto Farm Chevrolet pregame show, we'll visit with Rebel head coach Justin Grove on Rebel football here on the Wildlife and MyLocalRadio.com.
It's human nature to think the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. That's not always true, especially when it comes to buying vehicles. This is Dennis Lynch, General Manager at Auto Farm Chevrolet. Dealerships pay the same price for new vehicles across America. The fact is, the best deals are right here, in your own backyard. The difference is that our employees are your neighbors, people you can trust. Please visit us first, Auto Farm Chevrolet. We are your community-driven dealer.
Business cards are a powerful and inexpensive way to promote the goods and services you offer. You can design your own cards or have the professionals at WESTAR Printing design your business cards. Now with same-day and next-day turnaround on all business card printing, you don't have to wait. Get your business cards today. Professional quality, inexpensive prices, and quick turnaround. Visit WESTAR Printing, 243 7th Street in Evanston, across from the library. WESTAR Printing, 307-789-5202.
Welcome back to the Rolene Kennedy at Auto Farm Chevrolet pregame show. We're in the middle of the coaches show. It's brought to you by Bear Lake Memorial Hospital. Count on us to care. Rebels started the season with a 40-0 loss against Kanab. Then they lost at Bear Lake 40-0. A bye last week gave Rich some time to kind of tweak a few things, hopefully, and maybe look a little bit better today as 2A North Region play begins at Gunnison Valley. Stay tuned. We'll talk with Rebel head coach Justin Grohl when we return on the Wildlife and MyLocalRadio.com. More than 1,300 rural hospitals were evaluated, and Bear Lake Memorial Hospital placed in the top 20 for quality and best practices and critical access. Offering a 24-hour emergency department, orthopedics, home health, a residential nursing home, physical therapy, surgical services, family doctors, chemotherapy, dialysis, and more. When it comes to your health, make sure you're seen by the best. Bear Lake Memorial Hospital in Montpelier, Idaho. Count on us to care. When you enter the city limits of the town of Woodruff, the sign welcomes you to a place with the coldest temps and the warmest hearts. Settled in 1870, we celebrate the values of kindness, compassion, and friendliness, knowing a community's greatness may best be measured by the compassionate actions of its members. Mayor Scott Sabian, council members Millie Bradshaw, Raymond Franson, Kent Stewart, and Jason Peterson, with Secretary Lisa Bell, welcome you and say, Ryan Steineckert with Justin Grohl, head coach of the Rich Rebel football team. Coach, how was the week off? I mean, it wasn't really a week off. It was no games, but how did that last week of practice go?
You know, it was better. It gave us a chance to settle down and actually get healed up and look and study film on opponents, but study film on us and be able to watch, and the kids can see exactly what they were doing and where they need to be. So it helped us.
I think probably almost every other team in the state does the two-a-day practices to get things going earlier, right? You guys don't get that. Do you feel like that puts you behind?
That's good and bad. We've always had, at least while I've been here, we've had some injuries, and so going two-a-days is kind of risky for us because we don't have as many people as it is right now. It would be good to clean things up, but you know, by this part of the season, you basically should be able to get things down and just tweak a few things here and there.
Getting a good picture of kind of how good Milford and Beaver are, looking like the top two teams in at least in the South, and you know, with Milford beating Duchesne last week, things like that. Your thoughts on how 2A is shaping up at this point? You know, it's the way I was expecting. Milford, Beaver, you also throw Millard in there. You know, those are some really good top teams of the 2A. The rest of us, you know, we're playing. There are some bigger schools. You know, Milford's a smaller school, but they've done really well. They've got some really good athletes right now, and they're riding some good talent. You know, eventually it's going to be like the rest of us. Sometime it's probably the talent's going to leave and graduate, and then you have to start over and kind of build the program back. And that's what we face as our smaller schools is, you know, you're up first few years until the classes leave, and then the next classes, it doesn't seem to have the talent every single year. You have to play with what you have. And so, you know, right now they've had some really good up years, and that's what they look forward to. You know, some of the others like Beaver and Millard, there's a lot of more kids to pull from, and so they should be up there every single year. Gotcha. It'll be an interesting matchup, Milford at Beaver Friday night. Coach, your matchup this weekend at Gunnison, what do you know about the Bulldogs?
They're a physical team. They like to just run it at you, and then when they get in trouble, they'll pass it a little bit. But basically, they're going to line up and try to run you over, and they'll bring lots of blockers in front. That of the 11 guys that are on the field most of the time, they'll bring 8 out as lead blockers. So you're having to bring a lot of kids to try to work through and stand your ground.
So it sounds like a Parowan type team. They overload one side and just say, hey, this is where we're going, see if you can stop us. Do you see many counters as if you overload one side defensively, or really focus on stopping where they look like they're going?
Yeah, they'll run a counter or two just to try to keep you off balance, but and it's just one big play is what they're looking for. But it's pretty much we're going to load it up and you try to stop us. Their backs are pretty fast. You know, they got a couple of really fast backs, and they're just going to pick their way through a hole and try to make a lot of yards. So if they don't, then, you know, you stop them a few times, then there will be a counter or a pass or something. But they're either going to run you over or look for a big play. So that's kind of what it looks like anyway.
Do you feel like you'll match up a little better with them? Is this a game where you might see a little bit of a breakout offensively?
I hope. You know, they're a bigger team. Seems like we're playing uphill on every single time, and you know we've got some bigger kids, but they're still young and still developing. But this is a big, fast Gunnison team, so they will be ready to play. You know, they haven't won a match, and so they're going to go into it at home, and they're thinking, you know, we should be able to win this. And so we're trying to prepare our kids to go down there and be ready to play and come out playing right from the very beginning.
And it's the time to do that. Region play starting this Friday.
Yeah, from now on, every game really matters. And, you know, we'll just put the past ones behind us and as learning experiences, and then we'll go from there. And then go, you know, everyone from now on is very important.
Coach, anything else you want to touch on?
I think that's all that we are looking at right now.
Coach Justin Grohl of the Rich Rebels, thanks so much for your time. Good luck at Gunnison Valley Friday.
Thank you.
This has been the Coaches Show, brought to you by Bear Lake Memorial Hospital. Count on us to care. We're down to crunch time as this thing kicks off in less than 10 minutes. We've got the Town of Laketown Ledger, the Town and Country Realty Green Scene, Epic Recreation keys of the game, and starting lineups coming up when we return on Rebel Football. KADQ FM 98.3 with live streaming video online at mylocalradio.com.
If you want your truck to really catch the eye, have the professionals at Plains Tire in Evanston install a custom lift kit with new tires and wheels. We've got a huge selection to choose from, so no matter what your style is, we've got the tires and wheels to make you smile. The way your truck looks reflects on you. Get the reflection you want with a lift kit, new tires, and wheels from Plains Tire in Evanston, the tire professionals. 157 Bear River Drive. Stop in today.
Super kids deserve super care. Experience the difference with board-certified pediatricians Alan Brown, MD, and Bird Gilmartin, MD, at Uinta Medical Group. Whether it's tracking your child's overall health at Well Child Checks or helping your little ones feel better when they're sick, Dr. Brown and Dr. Gilmartin are here to help your child grow, learn, and thrive. Schedule an appointment with Dr. Brown or Dr. Gilmartin by calling 307-789-WELL 9355 or visit evanstonanytime.com.
This presentation of Rich High School Athletics on mylocalradio.com is brought to you by these Rebel Sports Boosters, LSR Refrigerated, and the Walletines in Garden City. Darren, Tricia, and the entire Walletine clan wish the Rebels good luck. And by CAD Answer Technical Services, proudly supporting the Rich Rebels. The staff at CAD Answer Technical Services wish the Rebels good luck on the field, on the court, in the classroom, and in life.
Go Rich Rebels!
Welcome back to Gunnison. Ryan STEINECKERT here, and pregame has been presented here on KADQ by Rolene Kennedy, Rich County's representative at Auto Farm Chevrolet. Just finishing up the flag ceremony. You may, if you're watching online at mylocalradio.com, you see the signs Fighting with Jacko, a student here at Gunnison Valley High School who's been battling cancer for the last 4 years, a malignant tumor on his spine. And it's been a long battle. He had some surgery done, they said, earlier this week, and they hope that they've removed all parts of that malignant tumor, and he'll have to go through some radiation and chemotherapy. And so the team tonight with homecoming going on, it's a party in the USA, and they're fighting with Jacko, one of their teammates, brothers, cousins, fellow students, etc., etc. A loved member of the community. All right, let's jump ahead in our pregame show, our Laketown Ledger. This is a quick one. The Laketown Ledger brought to you by the Mayor and Town Council of Laketown. These teams have never met before, so no wins, no losses for either team against the other. That's your Laketown Ledger. Good luck, Rebels, from the Mayor and Town Council of Laketown. Keys of the game today. Let's jump right into that as we're just about to get underway. We'll tell you what happened in the coin toss, but first the Rebels have to take offense. Let's take offense. Through 2 games so far this season, the Rebels have a total of 24 yards of offense and a big ugly 0 in points scored. Now, I don't bring this up to focus on the negative, but rather to point out an obvious fact. The Rebels have to find a way to score, and that doesn't happen until they find a way to consistently pick up first downs, limit mistakes, and then punch it in across the goal line. Far too many people these days are easily offended, but in the game of football, to put points on the board, to win today, the Rebels must take control on offense. They must take offense. Discipline D, number 2, Epic Recreation, key of the game. A good team executes consistently on offense. They may throw in some deception here and there, but there's no substitute for sound fundamentals, good blocking, correct timing, and sound execution. Gunnison thrives on this principle. The occasional counter or run to the weak side keeps the defense honest, but for the most part, the Bulldogs line up, show what they plan to do, and then execute. How do you stop a team that succeeds with discipline? Well, in a word, discipline. To stop Gunnison's power play, the Rebels have to fill their defensive assignments, trust each other, play solid, and have disciplined defense. And your third Epic Recreation key of the game is win in the trenches. You've heard phrases like a battle in a phone booth or a knife fight in the trenches. We use these phrases because the team that wins at the line of scrimmage usually wins the game. The guys who line up in the trenches have a tough job, and there's far less glory than for the other guys on the field, but the way the big boys play has tremendous bearing on who wins the game, and it comes down to fundamentals. Can you block the guy in front of you? To quote Led Zeppelin, throw down your plow and hoe. Any hope of the Rebel victory tonight rests on their ability to win in the trenches. A kickoff to the Rebels' left sideline. That's a near sideline, is out of bounds. A pooch kick by Gunnison Valley. The Rebels won the toss and elected to receive, and Rich will start with good field position. Your keys of the game are brought to you by Epic Recreation. Visit epicrecreation.net or find us on Facebook. A quick Town & Country Realty green scene. Town & Country Realty selling Bear Lake in Utah and Idaho. Pam Cornea, a beautiful night in Gunnison. Temperatures about 78 degrees here at
starting on the defensive line tonight for the Bulldogs, number 90,
opening kickoff. Actually, scratch that. My weather app just updated. Says 82 degrees. A bit of a breeze coming in from the northwest. But a beautiful night and a great facility here. The sun behind us, if you're watching online at mylocalradio.com, as the Rebels start 1st and 10 from their own 32. Again, our green scene is brought to you by the Town & Country Realty. Pam Cornea, selling Bear Lake in Idaho and Utah. Rich, from its own 35-yard line, 1st and 10. We'll get you the starting lineups in a moment. Riley Carrillo under center. 4 down linemen. Ball is on the turf. The Rebels fumbled. Carrillo just let it slip out of his hand as he turned to give a handoff, and it looked like it was Stetson Huffaker recovering back at the 32. Make that the 33, a loss of 2 yards for Rich. The Rebels starting offense up front. The Rebels are the defense or the visiting team, so we'll give you the starting offense first for Rich. For a first down, loss of 2 at 2nd down and 12. Again, we'll get you those starters here in just a moment. The Crawford Trough first quarter, no score. We're just underway. Meek in motion from left to right. Carrillo looks to give up the middle, keeps it himself on the quarterback option around the right side, finds some running room out to the 40. A 7-yard gain for Riley Carrillo. Up front, from left to right, tackle to right, left tackle to right tackle, junior Colton Johnson, sophomore James McKinnon, sophomore Justin Adams, Buckwheat, and then Hayden Weston and Bridger Weston. Quarterback Riley Carrillo, a sophomore, getting his first start. Wide receivers are Flint Silva and Kyler Wilson, both seniors. Fullback Stetson Huffaker, a senior, and running backs are juniors Hayden Meek and Jaden Grohl. We'll give you the Gunnison Valley starters here in just a moment. Rebels facing a 3rd down and about 6 to go. Should be 5. They actually ended up spotting that at the 39-yard line, a gain of 6. Man in motion. Carrillo gives up the middle. Huffaker breaks a tackle, drags a man forward to the 43, but can't get it any further than that. A 3-yard gain for Stetson Huffaker. sets the Rebels up with a 4th down and about 3 yards to go. It looks like they'll punt it away. Gunnison Valley's defense, actually, we'll give you their offense here in a moment since they're about to receive this punt by the Rich Rebel offense. So Rich goes 3 and out, but moves forward to the tune of 7 yards. Gunnison with 2 men back deep to receive the punt and some early movement from the Rebels. It is going to be an illegal procedure against Rich. Often referred to as a false start. The Rebels go backwards 5 yards and will line up to do it again from their own 36-yard line. That's an extra 5 yards that Gunnison may get to start their first drive. Showing some pressure from the outside and a good block. Huffaker gets off a low line drive, fielded at the 32, bobbled, a broken tackle, a flag flies at the 40, and then Kyler Wilson comes in and brings the ball carrier down. I believe that was Zach Brackett, a 5'4" freshman. And we'll see what this flag is here in a moment. Probably a block in the back or a hold against the return team. Offensive starters for the Gunnison Valley Bulldogs from left tackle to right tackle. Sophomore Bryant Shell, sophomore Jack Hansen. Center is sophomore Bridger Stevens. Right guard, sophomore Will Prescott, and right tackle is junior Talmadge Jensen. It looks like this up front, 180 pounds, 154, 245 at center, 180 at right guard, and 230 at right tackle. Quarterback is freshman, 5'10", 130-pound John Wilden. Fullback, number 7, Dylan Anderson, a sophomore. Halfback is a senior, number 32, Brandon Tucker. Gunnison with his first down from its own 30-yard line, first quarter. 9:50 left. Man in motion from left to right. Wilden in the shotgun. Rolling to his right. Pressure comes in. Ball's on the turf, and the Rebels are on it. Stetson Huffaker dove on it after, I believe, Kyler Wilson forced the fumble, and Rich is in business.
Fumble on the play, recovered by
the turnover is brought to you by Garden City, where families play, and the Rebels have a 1st and 10 after what could be your McKay Frankham Dental Services precision play of the game. Rich has it at the Gunnison 23-yard line. First quarter, that took just 5 seconds off the clock. Wilden was bobbling the ball a bit. We've seen both teams struggle to control it. As Carrillo fumbled on the Rebels' first play from scrimmage. And Gunnison Valley fumbles it on their first play from scrimmage. Carrillo under center, trips to the right side. Huffaker behind Carrillo. Here's the snap. Give to Stetson. No, Carrillo keeps it himself around the right side. 20. Hit hard as he sideswiped to the 15-yard line. And a nice gain on first down for Riley Carrillo. Gunnison Valley defense starters are freshman Tyrek Hopkins, a 6', 200-pound freshman at the defensive end on one side. The other side is Aiden O'Neill, a sophomore. Juniors are the defensive tackles, Ben Shell and Talmadge Jensen. Linebackers, Brandon Tucker, Dylan Anderson, Greg Leifting, and Zach Stewart. And in the defensive backfield, Colby Olson, Carson Yardley, the cornerbacks. Free safety is Jack Hansen. They spot that at the 16-yard line. It was an 8-yard gain for Carrillo. Snap and a give up the middle. Huffaker has the first down. He's spun down to the 11, and the Rebels pick up a Comprehensive Family Dental first down. Comprehensive Family Dental, Dr. Sean Grohl providing quality family dentistry since 1997. Carrillo with 2 carries, 15 yards in the game, and Stetson Huffaker takes it down. They'll spot it at the 11, so that's a 5-yard gain for the Rebel offense. Huffaker 3 carries for 6 yards, but remember he recovered that fumble on the opening play of the game from scrimmage and lost a couple of yards. So his actual carries, 2 for 8. 2 on the left side, ball on the left hash. Carrillo under center. Lifts his leg to send a man in motion, lifts it again, and Wilson motions to the left side. Everybody on that left. Carrillo tucks it and runs. He's brought down in the backfield. Big tackle. Easy play there by Tyrek Hopkins. He did his job from the defensive end position. Containment, containment, containment. Back to the 14-yard line. A loss of 3. I'll call it a loss of 2. 2nd down and 12 for the Rebel offense. This first quarter, again, brought to you by Crawford Trough. Open after every Rebel home game. They'll be open tonight as Rebel Volleyball hosting Tabiona. We'll give you some scores on that here in a moment. The Rebels line up with twins on the right side, 2 left. Carrillo back, looking to throw. Over the middle, up high. Wilson makes the catch in the end zone. Touchdown, Rebels. Your first touchdown of the season. Carrillo finds Kyler Wilson for a 12-yard touchdown pass. 14 yards, let's make it. And the Rebels are on the board, leading 6-0 on the Station on Main scoreboard. Carrillo waited, and then he threw that ball high. The free safety was coming in, and Carrillo threw it high enough to keep it away from the free safety. And Wilson, with the nice hands, goes up high to receive it. Carrillo to Wilson. So the Rebels take advantage of excellent field position. Rich scrambling a bit to get the right personnel in. The T for the extra point attempt. They may get a delay of game here. I don't think it's worth calling a timeout, but a whistle, and Rich does take a timeout. We'll take a quick one as well. Timeouts are brought to you by T7 Propane in Woodruff. We'll take a quick one and be right back on the Wildlife and mylocalradio.com.
What could be better than a fresh, mouth-watering burger from the Crawford Trough in Randolph? Top it with cheese and thick-cut bacon, or throw in some mushrooms and make it a double. Now we're talking. Add home-cut fries and a creamy shake, and you might just think you're in paradise. With crisp salads and tasty wraps, plus onion rings, perfectly cooked chicken, cold drinks, and silky smooth ice cream, the Crawford Trough is the place to eat and drink at 120 South Main in Randolph.
Rebels forced a fumble at the Gunnison Valley 23-yard line, and 4 plays later, Rich scores its first pro physical therapy touchdown of the season, presented by physical therapist Dr. Dallas Clark. Now the extra point brought to you by Rich County 4-H. The attempt is up, blocked. Rich County 4-H empowering young people with the skills to lead for a lifetime. So Rich will settle for a 6-0 lead on the Station on Main scoreboard. We'll keep it right here and recap that drive for you. Rich, again, started at the Gunnison Valley 23-yard line. 4 plays. They went those 23 yards. A 14-yard touchdown pass from Riley Carrillo to Kyler Wilson. Rich runs off 1 minute and 59 seconds off the clock. Extra point attempt blocked, and Gunnison Valley trailing early sets up to receive this kickoff. First quarter is brought to you by Crawford Trough, open after every Rebel home game, the place to eat and drink. Rebel volleyball in action tonight. The freshmen beat Tabiona in 4. The JV beat Tabiona in 3, and the varsity won the first 2 sets, 25-19 and 25-15. I got Todd Stacy sending me text messages. I just got the last one. Rebels took set 3, 25-15, and Rich, volleyball improves to 2-0 in Region 22 play with a 3-0 sweep of the Tabiona Tigers. Todd Stacy, thanks so much for sending those scores my way. Rebels on top 6-0 on the Station on Main scoreboard. Huffaker with the Bear Lake Physical Therapy kickoff. Bounces at the 18-yard line. A throw back from the left to the right sideline. Zach Brackett makes the catch. He's got the sideline, but Huffaker gets over there. Stetson playing disciplined kick coverage, stayed in his lane and took Brackett out of bounds at the 38-yard line. So Gunnison running a little bit of trickery. And that nets the Bulldogs a decent return. They'll start this drive, their second drive of the night, at their own. A little bit of a delay. Coach Patrick King not happy with something the officials have told him. There's laundry on the field back at the 20-yard line. And a hold is the call. So an illegal block. Oh, no, an illegal forward pass is what they call it. That looked like a backward pass to me. I'm not in the angle to make that call, but from where I'm sitting, that looked legal. So what that means, boy, that's already a second penalty of the game. And instead of about starting at their own 38, they go clear back to the 10-yard line. It's a 10-yard penalty, but because it takes away the return, boy, that's like a 28-yard penalty Still 1st and 10 for Gunnison, but at its own 10-yard line instead of its own 38. Long shadows here in Gunnison Valley. Pretty little town. Nestled in central Utah, a few miles off of I-15, south of Fillmore, south and east of Manti. 2 receivers out to the left side, 1 out wide right, and Wilden alone in the shotgun. Tucker, that's Brandon Tucker in motion. He gets the handoff around the left side. He's a tough one to stop, breaks a tackle or 2, still on his feet, driving forward around the 25-yard line. A 16-yard gain. They'll spot him out at the 26. And Brandon Tucker, 16 yards on his first carry. We heard Coach Patrick King say in our pregame show, Brandon Tucker is my hardest runner. Dylan Anderson is my lowest runner, meaning he's got that low center of gravity. And Zach Stewart, my fastest runner. So they can hit you with the Thunder, the Lightning, and the Bulldog. Those are the 3 different running backs that this Gunnison Valley team has. Wilden again from the shotgun. He's got Tucker this time on his left hip, ball on the left hash. Snap, give to Tucker around the left side. He gets a block to push the end out and cuts up field across the 30 to the 32. Finally, a gang of Rebels bring him down. But that's another first, no, not quite a first down. Out to the 32-yard line, a 6-yard gain. Tucker with 2 carries for 22 yards already in this one. You got to thank Holt Argyle running our camera tonight. Holt, you got a good view from up here, right? It's a great view from up here in the Crow's Nest, up above the Gunnison Valley bleachers. Full bleachers here for 2A Gunnison. Wilden in the shotgun, 2 receivers wide right, and Tucker on his right hip. A man in motion is Dylan Anderson to the left side of the line. Give to Tucker, and he is wrapped up and stuffed in the backfield. Nowhere to go. Riley Carrillo fought through his block. Riley, a defensive end for this Rebel team. And that tackle, a tackle for loss, takes Tucker down back at the 30, a loss of 2. Sets up a 3rd down and about 6 for this Bulldogs team. Rebels leading 6-0 on the Station on Main scoreboard. Rich forced a fumble, recovered it at the Gunnison 23. 3 plays later, Carrillo found Wilson over the middle for a 14-yard touchdown pass. Wilden in the shotgun, takes the snap, gives around the left side, and nowhere to go. Stuffed in the backfield is Zach Stewart, the fastest runner on this Gunnison Valley team. Stewart with nowhere to go. The Rebels got great penetration into the backfield. Again, it was Carrillo, and I believe James McKinnon back there as well. They'll spot him down back at the 26-yard line after forward progress. It's a loss of 4.
Back to punt for the Bulldogs, number 4.
And the Bulldogs will line John Wilden, the quarterback, up to punt. Rebels send Meek and Flint Silva, I believe Hayden Meek and Flint Silva back to return the punt. Long time to get that off, but Wilden gets off a nice high, wobbly spiral. Flint Silva breaks a couple of tackles, breaks another at midfield, and he's off to the races, to the 40, to the 30, down the right sideline, caught from behind and drugged down at the 20-yard line. Flint Silva with a monster return. No flags on the field. Silva caught that at about the 40 and took it all the way back to the Gunnison 17-yard line. So Rich with another opportunity. Excellent field position here first quarter, and Rich leading 6-0 on the Station on Main scoreboard. We'll give Silva from the 40. That's a 30, 42-yard return on that punt unofficially. Any stats I give you throughout the night are unofficial, but I know we're close as I keep these stats while we're going. 2 men wide to the left, 1 in the slot on the left side. Huffaker behind Carrillo. Under center. Grohl in motion from left to right. Carrillo takes the snap, pulls it out, keeps it himself around the left side, breaks a tackle, and then he's hit hard and knocked down to the 16-yard line. A short gain and a nice tackle by Brandon Tucker. Carrillo got around the end and passed big Tyrek. Oh, no, that was Talmadge Jensen on the right side. Tyrek Hopkins, the freshman defensive end, got sucked in a bit. So Carrillo picks up a yard. 2nd down and 9 for the Rebel offense at the Gunnison Valley 16-yard line. Carrillo 4 carries, 13 yards so far in this contest. Still in the first quarter. Trips out wide to the right. Silva alone on the left side. Meek comes in motion, stops right in front of the line. Give to Huffaker. He's got some room up the middle. He slips down to the 10. And it looks like they'll spot him closer about the 11-yard line. Huffaker, the timing there was key because there were players getting penetration on the defensive line, but Huffaker slipped through to a different side than where that pressure, that defensive penetration was. So down to the 11, a 5-yard gain for Huffaker. Stetson doing a nice job, 4 carries, 11 yards. His positive yardage, 3 carries for 13 yards. Aside from that fumble recovery that he had on the first play from scrimmage. Trips right on a 3rd and 4. Ball right in the middle of the field. One man wide left is Flint Silva. Carrillo takes the snap, gives to Stetson. Huffaker left side. First down and a little bit more. Wrapped up and spun down to the turf at the 5. Rebels move the chains. A comprehensive family dental first down brought to you by Dr. Sean Grohl, Quality Family Dentistry since 1997. They spot Huffaker down just outside the 5-yard line. A 6-yard gain. And Rich is knocking on the door. That was a nice big Saby trucking offensive line hole. Good luck, Rebels, from Scott and Diana Saby. I think our cameraman, Holt Argyle, could have picked up 3 or 4 on that with that Saby trucking offensive line hole. I would have been stopped right probably behind the line of scrimmage. Ball in the left hash for a 1st and goal. Rebels leading 6-0 and knocking on the door. Riley Carrillo under center. Sends or brings Meek in motion right to left. Turns and gives to Huffaker. He stood up in the backfield. Great job by Stetson to hold on to the football, but the defensive pressure in the backfield got to him, and he had nothing that he could do with it. That was big number 90, Talmadge Jensen, 6'2", 230 pounds. Offensive, or the free safety, Jack Hansen, a sophomore, also in on the tackle. And the Rebels lose 1.5 yards back to the 7. Might have had a flag on the play as well. An illegal shift called against Rich. Question is, Gunnison Valley, do they accept this penalty or not? Clock should have stopped. It did not stop. It's been running during this entire discussion from the officials on a penalty. 1:45. I'm sure they'll add some time back up on there on the Station on Main scoreboard. But the Rebels lead 6-0. And I know a legal shift there would take them back 5 yards. And Gunnison Valley indeed does decline the penalty. I thought they might do so because then Rich loses the down, plus they lost 1 yard. Rich would have been back at about the 10 for a 1st and goal. Instead, it's 2nd and goal at the 7. So Coach Patrick King out of Jacksonville, Florida, Georgia Bulldogs fan. He went from Red Bulldogs to Blue Bulldogs here in Gunnison Valley. Trusting his defense that they can get a stop here. 2nd and goal. Huffaker behind Carrillo, and movement from the left side of the Rebel line. A little bit of just a shoulder shrug by that Rebel left side is an illegal procedure. 5 more yards. Rebels' second penalty of the day pushes them back to the 12. Brings up a 2nd and goal at the 12. Ball on the left hash. Wide to the right side. Connor Greer with Jaden Grohl in the slot. Hayden Meek in tight. Carrillo takes the snap, rolling to his right, looking for something, breaks a tackle, and lowers the shoulders to the 10. The ball came out. No, they'll say Carrillo. The Whitecap head official, the referee, says nope. Carrillo was down before that ball was taken away. Riley was carrying it going back a few years, Steve Young style. Vince Young used to do it, almost like a loaf of bread. We saw Teagan Criswell of Bear Lake carry it that way last week. Didn't cause him any troubles, but it almost caused the Rebels some trouble tonight. 2-yard gain for Carrillo. 3rd down and goal at the 10. Now, should the Rebels face a 4th and goal and elect to kick a field goal, we know Huffaker can hit. He hit to beat Altamont in overtime last year from about 24 yards. Carrillo rolling to his right. He's got Connor Greer, loops it to the back of the end zone. Tons of contact, and a flag flies late, but it does fly. Greer was in position, and he was just bowled over by 2 Bulldog defenders, and that'll be a pass interference. Now, in high school, pass interference is not automatic first down. It'll be half the distance to the goal and replay the down, so it should put Rich at a 3rd and goal from the 5. If I've got my rules correct. It is indeed a pass interference against the Bulldogs.
pass interference penalty on the Bulldogs.
It ends up only being a 5-yard penalty, half the distance to the goal. Ball on the right hash for 3rd and goal.
Replay 3rd down.
Rebels scored on their first possession after they forced, or their second possession rather. They forced a Gunnison fumble at the 23. Carrillo threw it to Wilson over the middle for the score. And then Flint Silva with a 42-yard punt return set Rich up with nice field position. 3rd and goal with time running down in the Crawford Trough in Randolph first quarter. And the line judge on this near sideline, the Gunnison Valley sideline, asks for a timeout, needs a quick discussion with his crew members. And, you know, as fans, you don't like the stoppage in play, but you got to like that the officials want to get things right and make sure things are running smoothly. So hats off to the officials. Carrillo takes the snap right side. Hayden Meek stood up, breaks a tackle, and drives forward. Second effort gets him to the 4. A short gain for Hayden Meek.
Stop by number 20, Hayden O'Neill.
1-yard gain. Going back to that passing attempt from Riley Carrillo to Connor Greer. Greer had beaten his man. He was in the back of the end zone and just kind of had to wait for that pass. If Carrillo lets it go quicker or earlier, I think maybe anticipate better where Greer was going to be. That might have been a different outcome. As it is, we reach the end of the first quarter, brought to you by the Crawford Trough in Randolph, open late after every Rebel home game. Rich on top, 6-0 on the station on main scoreboard.
This is Rich Rebel Senior, Bridger Weston, and you are watching Rich High School football on Rebel Radio and mylocalradio.com.
In today's world, with so many places to shop and so many options to choose from, sometimes you have to boil it down to one simple question: where do I get treated the best? At Cash Honda Yamaha in Logan, we work hard to make sure every customer knows how much we appreciate them. We love what we do, and we believe in the products we sell. Our goal is to build a lasting friendship with every customer so we can serve you and your family for generations. Visit us today, Cash Honda Yamaha, 3765 US 91, Hyde Park, Utah. The best place to stay when you're in Casper, Wyoming is the Come On In Hotel and Suites. This beautiful log hotel offers 5 hot tubs, 1 pool, a fitness center, and fabulous indoor atrium. Offering jacuzzi and fireplace suites, the guest rooms are comfortable and relaxing. Plus, every stay includes a delicious extended continental breakfast. Whenever you're in Casper, stay at the best place. Come On In Hotel and Suites. Come on in today. Come On In Hotel and Suites, Casper.
Jumping back in, coming out to start the second quarter, brought to you by T7 Propane in Woodruff. A 4th and goal at the 4. Rebels lined up to go for it. Carrillo under center. 2 receivers right, 2 out left. Grohl in motion right to left. Huffaker behind Carrillo. Gives the snap. Ball's on the turf. It's scooped up and it's off to the races. To the 20, the 30, the 40. Crossing midfield. No one is going to catch Zach Stewart. He'll take it all the way to the house. A flag down, but I think that just fell out of the official's pocket. Zach Stewart scoops up the loose ball and races 95 yards for the score, and Gunnison Valley is on the board. Not sure if the official stats would say someone caused that fumble. I'm sure one of the Gunnison Valley defenders was right there. But the Rebels were having trouble on the exchange to begin with. And Zach Stewart was in the right place at the right time. We heard Coach Patrick King say his fastest running back is Zach Stewart. We saw his speed there. Funny snap out left side. Zach Stewart takes it and goes into the end zone for the 2-point conversion. And Gunnison, just like that, leads 8-6 on the station on main scoreboard. We'll take a quick timeout and be right back on the Wildlife at mylocalradio.com.
No matter what you need to have printed, WESTAR Printing is the place you want to have it done. Calendars, letterhead, envelopes, brochures, books, posters, vinyl banners, business forms, announcements, wedding invitations, and business cards are just a few examples. You can also have your favorite family photos printed on canvas or placed into a personalized family photo calendar. You will want to do business with WESTAR Printing. Stop in today. WESTAR Printing, 243 7th Street in Evanston.
Ball football is a funny thing. Rebels had a 6-0 lead and a 1st and goal inside the 10 of Gunnison. 3 plays later, going forward on 4th and goal at the 4, the Rebels fumble. Zach Stewart picks it up, goes 95 yards on the scoop and score. A 2-point conversion is good, and Gunnison, within a matter of seconds, leads 8-6 on the Station on Main scoreboard. John Wilden, low line drive kick. Conk picks it up for Rich. Riker trying to find some space across the 30, wrapped up and brought down, lunges forward to about the 35, where Rich will start this second possession, or this rather 4th possession of the game. Rebel defense has done its job so far. They forced a fumble and then forced a punt on after Gunnison Valley has gained just 1 first down so far. Rich from its own 35-yard line, 1st and 10, ball on the right hash. Rebels attacking left to right. If you're watching online at mylocalradio.com. The shadows over the mountains to the west and behind us. And so the field, or the sun over the mountains, the field in shadow. Lights are on here in Gunnison Valley, where the Bulldogs lead 8-6 on the Station on Main scoreboard. Grohl started out on the right side, then steps back into the backfield. Pro formation look for Carrillo under center. Takes the snap, misdirection, starts left, gives right to Hayden Meek, and he's brought down after a short 2-yard gain out to the 37-yard line. Our camera tonight is brought to you by Bear Lake Realty. It's a Bear Lake Realty fan cam. Gary and Amber McKee in Garden City are the most experienced and highest volume realtors in the Bear Lake Valley. Visit bearlakerealty.com if you're looking to buy or sell a home in the Bear Lake area. 2 receivers right, 2 wide left. Rebels spread things out with 1 in the backfield. Carrillo looks right, looks back to his left, tucks and runs. He's got the 40, crosses the 45, and a flag flies down back at the 35. Likely a hold against Rich, which would negate first down yardage. Carrillo, the line to gain was the 45. The tip of the football is on the Rebel side of the 45, but indeed it is a hold penalty against Rich, and that occurred back at the 35. A 10-yard penalty from there, but that's 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and 10 yards back from where Carrillo ended his run. So it's virtually a 25 or a 20-yard penalty rather, as it pushes Rich back to the 25-yard line and brings up a 2nd down and 20. 10:46 left here in the second quarter. Brought to you by T7 Propane in Woodruff for all your propane needs. That's T7 Propane in Woodruff. Back at the 25-yard line. A team struggling to find offense. Scored its first touchdown of the season tonight. Facing a 2nd down and 20. That's not the way to move the chains. Gunnison Valley showing pressure from the right side as Carrillo goes back, looks to throw, heaves it deep down the middle of the seam for Hayden Meek, and it's just too long. He dives, and it's through his hands and incomplete. Jack Hansen, the linebacker, on the coverage. And that throw right about on target. Just a touch too long for Carrillo. His first incompletion of the day. That's just his 2nd passing attempt. On the season, Carrillo, 5 of 9. That's right around 55%. He has 24 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception this season. 3rd down and 20. Do the Rebels go conservative and just plan to punt it away? Or do they take a little bit of a shot here with 10:18 left in the T7 Propane and Woodruff second quarter? Carrillo runs left, looking to throw, comes back to his right. Pressure got to him, and he scrambles forward, upended. Ball comes out as he hits the ground at the 34. Stewart picks it up again and races for pay dirt, but whistles blowing. The play was over. Carrillo got upended and came down on the ball, and that's what caused the fumble. But Stewart, boy, ever the opportunist, taking advantage. And that's what you're coached to do. That's a good play by Stewart, despite the fact that it won't actually count for anything. A decent gain for Rich of 9 yards to the 34-yard line, but Rebels are still 11 yards short of the first down, so Rich lines up to punt it away. Good snap to Huffaker. Stetson gets off a booming line drive, bounces at the 25, fielded at the 20, around the right side. Still with space to run. Colby Olson to the sideline. Finally wrapped up about the 40 and brought down there.
Return by Colby Olson for the Bulldogs.
So Colby Olson with a nice return.
Bulldogs, first down.
First and 10 for the Gunnison Valley Bulldogs. See what they can do offensively here. They haven't had much success so far tonight offensively. This drive, Gunnison from its own 42-yard line. T7 Propane in Woodruff second quarter, 9:21 left on the clock before half. Our halftime will be brought to you by Ellingford Brothers. Invite you to stay tuned for our halftime show. We'll talk with, who will we talk with? Our standout student this week, Junior Sarah Woods. Not sure if we had a penalty or just what it was, but they'll actually move the football back 10 yards to the 32 for a first and 10. I didn't see any indication of a penalty, but regardless, it's first and 10, Gunnison at its own 32. Two receivers left, one wide right, Wilden in the shotgun. Brandon Tucker comes in motion. Wilden hands to him around the left side. A flag flies in the backfield. Tucker's loses the ball. Meek, it's scooped up and pitched to Meek, and Hayden running for the end zone. Down the right sideline, he's in. Touchdown Rebels, but will the flag bring it back? It'll be interesting because one of the Rebels, after Wilden handed the ball off, gave Wilden a big pop, knocked him to the turf. Now, strictly speaking, unless I'm not up on my rules, that's not an illegal play. He's a live target. A personal foul, roughing the passer. The passer was not passing. That's not correct.
No touchdown.
There's no. A roughing the passer, the call. On a handoff, the quarterback is a live target. That's why a quarterback can hand it off and then be a lead blocker. Roughing the passer. Ouch. So that negates what would have been a Rebel touchdown. And I think it was Flint Silva who recovered the fumble, and as he was going down, pitched it up to Hayden Meek, who went scampering down the right sideline 35 yards for the score. But instead, a roughing the passer on a running play, an unprecedented call by the officials, gives Gunnison Valley the ball back at its own 47-yard line. I'm going to have to look up in the rule book. I do not believe that's correct. Tight formation for Gunnison Valley, 4 in the backfield. Wilden in the shotgun. Snap goes to Brandon Tucker, right side. He breaks a tackle across the 50, drug down in Rebel territory at the 49-yard line. A 4-yard gain for Tucker. And Gunnison Valley faces a second down and 6 in Rebel territory. Two receivers wide to the left side. Wilden in the shotgun. Takes the snap. Nope, went straight to Tucker. He breaks outside to the right side, and it's a foot race. Hayden Meek has a shot at him and brings him down by the shoelaces at the 10.
Big run by 32, Brandon Tucker.
Just looked up a little bit on the rule book. I'll give you an update on that. As Brandon Tucker races all the way down, they'll spot it at the 9-yard line. That's a 40-yard run for Brandon Tucker on the direct snap, almost like a wildcat. So a roughing the passer can occur on a running play if the opposing player picks up the quarterback and drives him into the ground, which would commonly be described as a tackle, but would result in a 15-yard roughing the passer penalty. So maybe I didn't see that tackle correctly. Snap, Zach Stewart in the Wildcat, runs to his left. He's wrapped up, still on his feet, drives forward, trying to get inside the 10, and maybe does. Got back not quite to the line of scrimmage. A loss of 1. Yeah, they'll spot that right at the 10-yard line. So apparently if the tackle was of the type of unnecessary roughness kind of a tackle, then a roughing the passer would be the correct call. So I'll eat crow and say I was wrong. The officials got it right. Wilden in the shotgun. 2 receivers wide to his right side. Zach Stewart on his left hip. Tight end on the left. Wilden waits and calls for the snap. Takes it, throws to the right side. Man makes the catch, breaks a tackle, still on his feet, hit hard at the goal line. Just shy of the end zone is Colby Olson, leading receiver on the team with 7 receptions for 60, maybe 70 yards, including that 9-yard reception. John Wilden, 1 of 1 on the night passing the ball. Down to the 1-yard line, a 3rd and goal for Gunnison Valley's offense. Leading 8-6 on the Station on Main scoreboard midway through the T7 Propane and Woodruff second quarter. Look for the direct snap to Tucker here. He gets it right side and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Gunnison Valley has scored 14 unanswered. And that roughing the passer penalty showing big here. Brandon Tucker from 1 yard out. And watch this funny snap on the extra point attempt. We'll see if they go for 2 here again. They're lined up certainly to go for 2, not to kick. Wilden gets the snap, runs to his right, throws incomplete. He missed his man a little too far to the outside. And Gunnison will settle for a 14-6 lead on the Station on Main scoreboard. We'll take a quick timeout here in this second quarter, brought to you by T7 Propane in Woodruff.
When T7 Propane in Woodruff, Utah is your propane supplier, you get reliable, safe, and professional propane service. And that's not all. T7 Propane offers years of expertise, quality product, and the most responsive propane service in the area. For home or other heating needs, cooking, grilling, motor fuel, and more, count on the team at T7 for professional or business propane needs. Call 435-793-4208. That's 435-793-4208.
5 plays, 68 yards, 3 minutes, 21 seconds off the clock, aided by a roughing the passer penalty on a run play. Gunnison Valley makes it 14-6 on the Station on Main scoreboard. Rebels scored the first touchdown, but the Bulldogs have scored 2 straight. A low line drive kick. Huffaker fields it at the 20, lowers the shoulder, and runs over a man at the 30. Boy, he leveled Colby Olson, but Olson makes the tackle. So Rich will start 1st and 10. A flag down on the Rebel sideline at about the 38-yard line, and that would already be our 8th penalty of the game. Rebels have 4 penalties. Bulldogs have 3. This is a personal foul against Gunnison Valley. No, Rich, no Gunnison Valley. The official initially said against the Bulldogs, then pointed to Rich, then pointed back to Gunnison Valley. So it is.
Appears there was a personal foul penalty. Personal foul penalty on the Bulldogs.
Rich with 37 yards on 4 penalties. Gunnison Valley with 45 yards of penalties on 4 infractions. Rich with a 1st and 10 from its own 45-yard line. Carrillo out to the left, pitches to Huffaker, trying to get around the corner on the option, does enough and drags a man to midfield for a 5-yard gain. Rebels have got to find some consistency offensively. Their 2 possessions that were close to, well, one they scored when they started at Gunnison Valley's 23 after a fumble. And then a long kick, punt return by Flint Silva set the Rebels up at the 17, but the drive stalled, and Rich fumbled on a 4th and goal. Zach Stewart scooped it up and ran 95 yards for a score. So Huffaker picks up 5, 2nd down and 5 for the Rebels. Ball right at midfield. Nose of the football on the Gunnison Valley side of the 50. Carrillo back, snap, gives up the middle, and a short gain to close to 1st down yardage. A little bit more than what it looked like. And who's that ball carrier? Is that Hayden Meek? I believe it was Meek on the carry, straight up the gut for 4 yards to the 46-yard line. of Gunnison Valley. Rebels in Bulldog territory. Time running down in the T7 Propane and Woodruff second quarter. A 3rd down and 1 for Rich. Ball on the left hash. Rebels in the whites, Bulldogs in the blues. Carrillo keeps it himself. He's got the first down and a whole lot more. Buckwheat leading the way. Big Justin Adams right up the gut. And Carrillo was 3 yards downfield before he got touched. Got dropped once, pretty quickly once they got to him at the 42-yard line. A 4-yard gain for Carrillo. Has 28 yards on 7 carries. Not bad, 4 yards per carry. Came in averaging 4.5 yards per carry. I formation behind Riley Carrillo. 2 receivers wide right. Takes the snap, gives right side, and Meek with some room to run. He's hit, ball pops out. Jaden Grohl is right there to scoop it in. And I got to start wondering right now whether this football is slippery at this point, because both teams having trouble hanging on to it. 1 or 2 loose balls early in a game, you don't worry or you don't question it. But, boy, this late in, we've seen the ball on the turf this many times. It's like there's snow on the field when it's 75 degrees. Ends up being a nice gain for Rich to the 34-yard line. 8 yards for Hayden Meek. And whistles will stop the clock at 3:47 left in the T7 Propane and Woodruff second quarter. Rebel first downs in the game are brought to you by Comprehensive Family Dental. Dr. Sean Grohl, providing quality family dentistry since 1997. The officials discuss and then separate to their respective spots and restart the clock. I formation for a 2nd and 2. Give to Meek. Hayden started up the middle, bounced a little bit to the left side. Good patient run by Meek and great vision to find the hole. Crosses inside the 30 to the 29 for another Comprehensive Family Dental first down. Hayden Meek with 5 yards on that carry. Brings his total up to 23 yards on 5 carries. Rebels, prior to tonight, by my stats, had 24 yards of offense combined against Kanab and Bear Lake. Tonight, well above that already, but needing to continue this drive and put another score on the board in the next 3 minutes and 12 seconds, 11 seconds, 10 seconds. As Rich calls a timeout, we'll take one as well and be right back here in this second quarter, brought to you by T7 Propane in Woodruff. Actually, we will not take a timeout. We'll keep it right here and take a look at one of our sponsors, the Bear Lake Realty Fan Cam. Holt, remember I showed you the buttons to zoom in? Let's take a look at the Rebel fans across the way. Bear Lake Realty, Gary and Amma McKee and Garden City are your rental and home investment experts, your Bear Lake home and investment experts. And they've got lots of great options, from timeshares to beachfront, room with a view, secluded mountain retreats, and much more. There's some Rebel fans over across the way. Bear Lake Realty Fan Cam. Visit bearlakerealty.com to learn more about Bear Lake Realty and how you can get your own little piece of Bear Lake. This second quarter is, again, brought to you by T7 Propane in Woodruff. Sorry, Holt, let me just fix. We got our camera skewed off a little bit up here in the crow's nest. Rebels facing a 1st and 10 after that Comprehensive Family Dental first down. And an I formation behind Carrillo under center. 2 receivers wide right. Give to Meek, right side. Finds a little room, and then he stood up at about the 25. A flag flies in. This may be a helmet-to-helmet hit as Meek was trying to lower the shoulder pads and drive forward, and the hit came in right on his helmet. A face mask is the call against Gunnison Valley. And it's a personal foul variety.
Penalty on the field.
Now Meek had gotten down to about the 25-yard line. That was another 5-yard gain. Spotted or walked off from there. Half the distance to the goal is the 12.5. And a first down, brought to you by Comprehensive Family Dental and Dr. Sean Grohl, providing quality family dentistry since 1998. Long ways for the Rebels to get from the huddle to the line of scrimmage after that 15-yard penalty. 2 receivers on the right side, nobody left. I formation behind Carrillo under center. Ball right in the middle of the field. Riley takes the snap, throws over the middle. He's got Riley Taylor caught down near the goal line. He stood up and stopped about the 2, and that was just a matter of, Riley, are you there? Riley, here I am. Here's the pass, here's the catch. And Riley Taylor, a nice job to cradle that football as pressure came in, and they tried to bring him down. But a 10-yard gain on the play for Riley Taylor. Moves the chains. Another Comprehensive Family Dental first down. First and goal for Rich. 2 receivers wide right, 2 left. Carrillo takes the snap, drives forward. He's close, but just shy. No, he's in the end zone. Touchdown. Line judge from this near sideline, Gunnison Valley sideline, comes in emphatically saying that's 6. And the Rebels put another one on the scoreboard. Riley Carrillo with a 2-yard touchdown run. Brought to you by Pro Physical Therapy and physical therapist Dr. Dallas Clark. I imagine the Rebels will go for 2 here to try and tie things up. They do line up to go for 2. I formation behind Carrillo. Give right side. Meek breaks 1 tackle, and he's hit from the right side and comes up just short. 2-point conversion fails. Gunnison leads 14-12 on the Station on Main scoreboard. The Bulldogs with a nice stop. The 2 PAT fails. And Rich trails 14-12. That drive, let me do some quick numbers here. 8 plays to go 55 yards. 2:17 left here in the second quarter. And Rich started, they had it with 6 minutes left in the second. So that's a 3-minute and 43-second drive. Longest drive of the season for this Rebel football squad. The offense coming together tonight against Gunnison Valley. They've scored twice and had one other possession that got down inside the 5 of Gunnison Valley. But the Bulldogs forced a fumble, and Zach Stewart scooped it up, ran 95 yards for the score. Rebels to kick this one away, a Bear Lake Physical Therapy kickoff. Bear Lake Physical Therapy helping Rebels get back in the game since 1998. Stetson Huffaker to kick this one away. They've left Gunnison Valley with plenty of time to try and make something happen. 2 minutes, 17 seconds left in the T7 Propane and Woodruff second quarter. Again, our halftime show will include the Town of Woodruff standout students, some Rich County government first half highlights, and the Ellingford Brothers halftime show. Stay tuned. Huffaker lined up, boots it, low line drive, straight down the middle, fumbled, picked up at the 5 and running right. Back to his left at the 20, hit hard, breaks through a tackle to the 25 and out across the 25-yard line. On the return is Easton Newman, the freshman, listed as a quarterback, wide receiver, and a cornerback. Gives Gunnison Valley decent field position at its own 32-yard line with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left in this opening half. Gunnison Valley comes in at 0-3. All time, the Bulldogs have no state championships, 75-207 in 29 years of playing football. That's 75 wins, 207 losses. Wilden in the shotgun, takes the snap, pressure comes, and he is sandwiched back at the 22. He dropped back looking to throw. Brandon Tucker was wide open in the right flat, but Wilden had no time to look for or try to find him. They do spot it back. And I made a mistake. The starting field position was the 27. So back to the 22 is a 5-yard loss. Wilden again in the shotgun. 2 receivers wide right. Zach Stewart in motion. And Wilden fakes the handoff to him, keeps it himself, and he's wrapped up. Nowhere to go. Gobbled up at the 22. He able to fall forward to the 23-yard line for a gain of 1. And Coach Patrick King takes a timeout for a 3rd down and 13 with 1:33 left in this T7 Propane and Woodruff second quarter. We'll take a quick timeout as well and be right back on the Wildlife and mylocalradio.com.
When T7 Propane in Woodruff, Utah is your propane supplier, you get reliable, safe, and professional propane service. And that's not all. T7 Propane offers years of expertise, quality product, and the most responsive propane service in the area. For home or other heating needs, cooking, grilling, motor fuel, and more, count on the team at T7 for professional or business propane needs. Call 435-793-4208. That's 435-793-4208.
Well, again, if you're just tuning in, maybe you missed Rebel Volleyball tonight. The Rebel Volleyball team hosted Taviona at Ridge High School in Region 22 play. The freshmen 1-4, the JV 1-3, and the varsity won 25-19, 25-15, and 25-15 to improve to 2-0 in Region 22 play. 6-4 overall for the Rebels. Gunnison Valley lined up, ready to roll for a 3rd and 13. Wilden takes the snap, gives to Zach Stewart. Right side, he goes back left across the 30, still on his feet to the 35, just short of the first down. The Rebels finally bring him down. Will Coach King go for it here on a 4th and 2? Big gain for Zach Stewart out to the 35-yard line. That's 13 yards. Stewart's first 2 carries went for a total of -5. That one for 13. Down to under a minute left in the station, or the T7 Propane and Woodruff second quarter. Imagine Coach King is just waiting. Here's what I'm thinking from a coaching standpoint. He's going to let all the time run off that he can, take a timeout just before delay of game warning, or just before a delay of game, and then punt it away. I don't think you'd let the clock run if you wanted to keep things going, but you want to keep your opponent from having any time left on the clock. He does take a timeout with 40.7 seconds left in this first half. Let's recap how we got here. Rebels' first possession, a 3 and out, but then on Gunnison Valley's first play from scrimmage, a fumble. Stetson Huffaker recovered for Rich, and 4 plays later, Riley Carrillo found Kyler Wilson over the middle for a 14-yard touchdown. Rich failed on the extra point and led 6-0. Gunnison Valley punted. The Rebels got a great kick return, or punt return, all the way down to the Gunnison Valley 17. But then on a 4th and goal, Rich fumbled it, and Zach Stewart returned it 95 yards for a score. Wilden lined up to punt. Gunnison Valley scored one more time, and Rich has scored once more. Rebels sending the house. Wilden gets off a short, high punt. It bounces off a Rebel. Connor Greer did not get cleared out, and it does go to Gunnison Valley with 33 seconds left to go in this opening half. So the Rebels muff the punt return, and Gunnison Valley takes over at the Rich 42-yard line. Not sure who the mistake was there. Connor Greer obviously too close, didn't realize the punt was so short. But he's going to have teammates yelling to him to clear the area. Wilden in the shotgun. Zach Stewart on his left hip. Wilden takes the snap. John back rolls right side, in and out of the hands of Riley Taylor. He had 55 yards of open green grass had he made that catch. And that may be what he was looking at, was pay dirt. Instead, it falls innocently to the ground. Innocently for Gunnison Valley, that is. 14-12, the Bulldogs lead on the Station on Main scoreboard, closing seconds of the first half. Wilden again in the shotgun, 2 receivers wide right. Brandon Tucker, the fullback. It's a low snap on what would have been a direct snap to Zach Stewart. He dives back down on it, clear back at Gunnison Valley's 46, and the Bulldogs call a timeout. Boy, each coach using its full tally of timeouts in this first half. Clear back to the 46. That's a 12-yard loss, and unfortunately for Zach Stewart, that goes against his numbers. So he's at 4 carries for -4 yards. That also brings up a 3rd down and about 22 to go for Gunnison Valley. They need the Rebel 32-yard line to move the chains. And if you're Rich at this point, you drop 3 or 4 guys back deep and just prevent a first down and ultimately, more importantly, another touchdown. 14-12, Gunnison Valley leads. Rebels offense has been better than Gunnison Valley's tonight, except for Brandon Tucker. 5 carries, 64 yards. Most of those have come on a 40-yard scamper, and then another carry of 16 yards. But he has hurt the Rebels and set up one of their scores. Zach Stewart, the other player who scored for Gunnison Valley, a 95-yard fumble return for a score. Watch out, Zach Stewart wide out on the left side. Wilden looking his way from the shotgun. Sends Stewart in motion. Takes the snap and throws incomplete on the left sideline. a diving effort by Carson Yardley, and he can't quite get there. Flint Silva on the coverage. The pass falls incomplete. 4th down and 22 for the Bulldogs. 19.8 seconds left in this first half. Our second quarter is presented by T7 Propane in Woodruff. For all your propane needs, 435-793-4208. Bulldogs to go for it here on a 4th and 22. Wilden in the shotgun. Stewart again in motion. Snap. It flushed out. Left side, wrapped up and brought down. For the Rebels, that was James McKinnon. He reached out, grabbed Wilden's jersey, the back of it, and just pulled him to the ground with 15.6 seconds left. The Bulldogs turn it over on downs at their own 36-yard line. So that's a loss of 10, and Rich may be in position to try and go for something here. From the Gunnison Valley 36-yard line. 15.6 seconds left. We'll see if Rich tries for something or just takes a knee. Carrillo under center, trips to the left. Flint Silva wide right, and Huffaker in the backfield. Looks like straight up man-to-man for the Bulldogs. Carrillo back to throw. Pressure comes. He gets around the corner. Heaves it downfield. He's looking for Meek on the sideline. No, just in and out of his hands. A defender might have deflected it and caused the incompletion. 2nd down and 10 from the 36. Carrillo, 2 of 4 for 24 yards and a touchdown in this first half. Rebels have been led by Hayden Meeks, 28 yards rushing, and Carrillo's 30 yards rushing. Riley under center. Again, 3 wide left. Flint Silva alone on the right side. Huffaker behind Carrillo. Riley takes the snap, rolling immediately to his left. He takes it himself, cuts up field to the 30. He's brought down there, and that will likely, and it will, take us to the half. Gunnison Valley leading 14-12 as we head for the Ellingford Brothers halftime show. This second quarter has been brought to you by T7 Propane in Woodruff. For all your propane needs, 435-793-4208. Stay tuned. The Town of Woodruff standout student, the Rich County government first half highlights, all part of the Ellingford Brothers halftime show when we return on the Wildlife and MyLocalRadio.com.
This presentation of Rich High School Athletics on MyLocalRadio.com is brought to you by these Rebel Sports boosters, the Wilson Ranch in Randolph. Good luck, Rebels, from Dale, Kim, Kyler, and Casey. Remember, the harder you work, the more good luck you'll have. And by Argyle Ranch Saddle and Boot, Feed and Supply, a custom shop specializing in leather and wood goods, with a farm feed and supply store to boot. Proudly supporting the Rich Rebels, the Argyle Ranch Saddle and Boot, Feed and Supply Store.
Is it time to stop wishing for your dream home in beautiful Bear Lake? If you're ready to make your dream a reality, Bear Lake Realty can help. With residential and land listings, including vacation properties, timeshares, cabins, condos, beachfront, lake view, and more, Bear Lake Realty has what you're looking for. And with more than 30 years of real estate experience in the area, you know you're working with the best. Visit BearLakeRealty.com and come and enjoy the Caribbean of the Rockies with us.
Established in 1870, Randolph, Utah is home. Home to the Rich Rebels, to hardy people of high character, and to values of dedication, honesty, hard work, education, and respect for self and others. Randolph is also home to friendly folks who love their families, their town, and their neighbors. Count yourself a neighbor whenever you visit Randolph, Utah. Mayor Lynn Weston and the Town Council of Randolph wish the Rich Rebels good luck and invite you to visit anytime.
Whether you're kicking up dust in the hills, making waves down on the lake, or taking advantage of the world's greatest powder, don't just hope to have fun. Take that sled by the handlebars and make your time at Bear Lake epic. Epic Recreation rents equipment and cabins for your vacation fun at beautiful Bear Lake. From watercraft large and small to UTVs, sleds, and more, Epic Recreation has it all to go on-road, off-road, or out on the Caribbean blue water. Book your adventure at epicrecreation.net.
Welcome to the halftime show. It's brought to you by Ellingford Brothers of Evanston, the best in specialized services, including construction, steel fabrication, sand and gravel, and oh, so much more at Ellingford Brothers. At the half, it's Gunnison Valley leading Rich 14-12. Rebels scored first, but Gunnison Valley scored 14 unanswered before the Rebels put one more on the board, but failed on a two-point conversion, which leaves Gunnison Valley leading 14-12 at the half on the Station on Main scoreboard. Stay tuned. We'll be back with first half highlights brought to you by Rich County Government after this on the Wildlife at MyLocalRadio.com.
The best cement comes from Ellingford Brothers in Evanston. They've been mixing cement for every type of job for generations. Major construction, road and bridge, cement blocks, foundations, sidewalks, curb and gutter, cement steps, septic tanks, and water troughs. No job is too large or too small. Make sure you get the best quality cement available at the best prices. Always get your cement from Ellingford Brothers. Call today. Ellingford Brothers, we know cement. 307-789-1515.
Success is no accident. It comes from constant hard work, perseverance, sacrifice, and learning from failure. Laketown Mayor Burdette Weston and council members Dallas Clark, Chris Hodges, Gary Ogilvie, and Delora White encourage the Rich High Rebels to continue to do whatever it takes to succeed in academics, activities, and athletics. The town council and citizens of Laketown celebrate the success of all the students and staff in the Rich School District.
Back on the halftime show, brought to you by Ellingford Brothers of Evanston. Visit ellingfordbros.com for all the best in specialized services, including construction, steel fabrication, sand, gravel, and so much more. ellingfordbros.com. Let's give you some first half highlights, but first, a quick pause for station identification.
You're tuned in to Rich Rebel Sports on KADQ Evanston.
First half highlights and stats are brought to you by Rich County Government. Rebels with a championship cause. The Rebels scored first. They didn't start offensively particularly well. A 3-and-out as Rich received the opening kickoff and went 3 plays and punted. But on the ensuing drive or possession by Gunnison Valley, its first play from scrimmage, the Rebels forced a fumble. Stetson Huffaker recovered at the Gunnison Valley 23, and 4 plays later, Riley Carrillo found Kyler Wilson over the middle for a 14-yard touchdown. Rich failed on the extra point attempt, but led 6-0 at that point. Gunnison Valley picked up a first down on its next drive, but was forced to punt, and Flint Silva returned that punt all the way down to the Gunnison Valley 17-yard line. Rich picked up a first down, got down to the 4. It was 4th and goal. Rebels went for it, and disaster struck. A fumble recovered by Zach Stewart of Gunnison Valley, and he raced 95 yards for the score. The Bulldogs converted the 2-point conversion and led 8-6 at that point. Rich went 3-and-out, and then Gunnison Valley's next possession, it took just 4 plays, including a 40-yard touchdown run, or not touchdown run, but a 40-yard run to set up a touchdown. Brandon Tucker did most of the work on that drive, including the 40-yard run and then the 1-yard touchdown run. 2-point conversion failed, but Gunnison Valley went 5 plays, 68 yards, and led 14-6. The next Rebel possession, its best drive so far of the season, 8 plays, 55 yards, almost 4 minutes of time off the clock, and Riley Carrillo punched it in from 2 yards out to make it 14-12. Rich went for 2 and failed on the 2-point conversion. Closing seconds of the first half, Gunnison Valley punted, and Rich muffed the punt. It hit a Rebel player, but Gunnison Valley recovered at the Rebel 36, but luckily for the Rebels, the Rebel defense held, and that took us to the half. Rebels got to run a couple of plays, but that was it for the first half. Riley Carrillo gained about 5 yards on that final play, and the Rebels trailed 14-12 at the end of the first half. A good first half for Rich, especially offensively, especially even more so considering that Rich had scored 0 points through the first 2 games of the season, and they've put 14 on the board here in this first half at Gunnison. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. Those first half highlights have been brought to you by Rich County Government, Rebels with a championship cause. Stay tuned. We'll have your Town of Woodruff standout student coming up next, brought to you by Mayor Scott Saby, council members Millie Bradshaw, Raymond Franson, Kent Stewart, and Jason Peterson with Secretary Lisa Bell. That's coming up when we return.
This is Rich Rebel Senior Austin Peterson, and you're tuned in to Rich High School Football on KADQ and mylocalradio.com.
When you enter the city limits of the town of Woodruff, the sign welcomes you to a place with the coldest temps and the warmest hearts. Settled in 1870, we celebrate the values of kindness, compassion, and friendliness, knowing a community's greatness may best be measured by the compassionate actions of its members. Mayor Scott Saby and council members Millie Bradshaw, Raymond Franson, Kent Stewart, and Jason Peterson with Secretary Lisa Bell welcome you and say,
Go Ridge Rebels!
every excavation project requires the professionals, the equipment, and the strategy to get the job done right. J-Bar Excavation in Randolph, Utah has the team, the tools, and the plan to execute every phase of your project to create exactly what you're looking for. They have the machinery and the experience to provide quality work that fits your schedule and your budget. Call them today, 435-793-5855. J-Bar Excavation, 90 North Main, Randolph. The best live coverage of local sports, weather, local news, and radio classifieds, plus online streaming music, giveaways, and more. It's all on mylocalradio.com. Watch as your high school teams clash with their biggest rivals. Listen to the latest from your team's coaches. Catch up on local and regional news and stream your favorite music. Visit mylocalradio.com. Like us on Facebook and stream it all live. Back on the halftime show, brought to you by Ellingford Brothers of Evanston. Ellingford, the best in specialized services, including construction, steel fabrication, sand and gravel, and more. Visit ellingfordbros.com. I'm trying to find some score updates from games tonight. There's some other big games in 2A North region play. Duchesne hosting or at North Summit. And then in the South, Kanab at Parowan, Milford at Beaver, North Sevier at Enterprise, and an interconference or I guess it's Monticello at Millard, an inter-region matchup. In that first half, I had Rich with 109 yards of offense, unofficially, 85 yards on the ground, 24 through the air. They were led by Riley Carrillo's 35 yards on 9 carries. He was 2 for 4, 24 yards through the air and a touchdown. Hayden Meek also had 28 yards on the ground, and Kyler Wilson, 1 reception for 14 yards and a score. Again, these first half stats are brought to you by Rich County Government, Rebels with a championship cause. And that Rich almost doubled what Gunnison Valley did offensively in the first half. I had the Bulldogs with 9 passing yards. John Wilden, 1 of 3 for 9 yards, and just 46 yards on the ground. The Rebels sacked Wilden twice for minus 15 yards, and take that away from Brandon Tucker's 64 yards on 5 carries. The bottom line, though, is that the 95-yard touchdown return on a fumble by Zach Stewart, the return by Zach Stewart, not the fumble. Zach Stewart returned at 95 yards for the score. The difference so far in this one, because the Rebels' offense has been a bit better than Gunnison Valley's. But Gunnison Valley at home on homecoming leads 14-12 at the half. Again, first half highlights and stats are brought to you by Rich County Government, Rebels with a championship cause. Let's move along in our halftime show presented by Ellingford Brothers. It's time for the Town of Woodruff Standout Student, brought to you by Mayor Scott Saby, council members Millie Bradshaw, Raymond Franson, Kent Stewart, and Jason Peterson with Secretary Lisa Bell. Ryan Steineckert with Sarah Woods, our standout student for this week. Sarah, thanks for your time.
Yes, of course.
Your junior year, how's it going?
It's all right. It's been long.
Wait a minute. It's been long. How many weeks in are we?
Like 3. It's felt like a pretty long year, though.
3 weeks in out of how many weeks is the school year? Like 35 or 40?
A lot.
A lot. Okay. So the length of time aside, how was the junior year? You enjoying any classes?
Yeah, I like carpentry and I like art and language arts with Walquist. That's always fun.
Language arts, art, and carpentry, you said?
Mm-hmm. I do like that class.
Is that something like the carpentry you've done in the past? Any projects?
I haven't ever done carpentry before. This is my first year, so I like it.
What do you like about it?
It's different than sitting in a desk, and you can actually do stuff. Mr. Davis is cool, so that's fun.
So the two of those classes that you named, art and carpentry, are kind of creative and with your hands. It sounds like that stuff you like.
Yeah, I don't really like sitting in a desk and staring at the teacher. Yeah.
Even if it's let's say Zac Efron was a teacher, would you like that?
Well, that's a different story.
But he doesn't teach here.
No, but he's fun to look at, so that would be okay.
Gotcha. Is that a contemporary enough reference? Is there somebody else you'd prefer to have as a teacher?
No, that sounds like a pretty good option.
So, Sarah, have you thought about a career, like post-high school? What's your plan?
I haven't really thought about it, like, a whole lot. Like, there's different things I am interested in, but I still have 2 years, so we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Dad's the music teacher right here at Rich High School. Is music something you enjoy as well?
I do like music, but I don't think I'd ever go into music anything. But, I like to play the guitar as, on the side.
Any other instruments that you play?
I play piano, bass, and drums, and guitar.
Do you have a favorite out of those?
Guitar.
Any particular music or artists or bands you like to play?
Pretty much anything. I just like to learn new things and different styles, so it's always fun.
How long have you been playing the guitar?
As long as I can remember, a long time. Yeah.
So no real plans right now? You have time to figure out what you want to do after high school? And what are you involved with here at Rich High School?
I don't play any sports this year. Just decided not to. But I am probably going to do the musical, so I'm not really involved that much.
With all those instruments that you play, will you do the band during basketball season?
No.
No. Wow, why not?
I don't know. I don't like a lot of things that you have to commit to, so I don't want to commit to be there to something. If I don't feel like it, then I don't like commitment at all.
You were in the show last year in Footloose, the musical, and did you enjoy doing that?
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time. Yeah, a little stressful, but it was fun.
Tell me again what your role was.
I was Erlene, one of the main character's friends.
Any ideas or have they narrowed down what this year's show will be?
I'm not sure. I think he's thought about it and is thinking and figuring it out, but I don't think he's had a set idea.
If you could pick the show, if he said, Sarah, what show are we doing, what would you pick?
Probably something fun. I don't know.
So you'd want to pick a fun show, something modern, or would you want to go back a ways, like Hello Dolly or something?
Probably something, I don't know. Honestly, I don't have that strong opinions. I think anything can be fun if you make it fun. It's just all about your attitude, which is with most things in life, I feel like.
That's a good lesson you've learned early on. That attitude makes a big difference in life.
Yeah, attitude is where it's at.
Sarah, is there anything else that you enjoy doing that we haven't talked about?
I don't know. I pretty much enjoy anything. I'm not that picky of a person, so I can have fun with anything.
Favorite food? Pick dinner tonight. What are you going to eat?
Oh, I have no idea. I really like SpaghettiOs, though. The ones in the can. Those are really good.
Chef Boyardee is happy. He's got a fan.
Yeah, I think they're really good.
All right, that's Sarah Woods. Can I ask you one last question? What's the favorite 2 or 3 things about being a Rich Rebel?
I like how you know your teachers, and you can it's more personal, so you can ask them questions easier than if it was a huge school with huge classes. And I like how you can just go sit in the office and talk to everybody that comes in there, because I do that a lot. I like how the school's small, so I can get around easier and walk around a lot. Yeah.
Sarah Woods, a junior at Rich High School, thanks so much for your time, and good luck with your long junior year.
Yeah, it's a long one, but thank you.
Now, thanks so much, Sarah. The Town of Woodruff standout student, brought to you by Mayor Scott Sabey. Council members Millie Bradshaw, Raymond Franson, Kent Stewart, and Jason Peterson, with Secretary Lisa Bauer. At Gunnison Valley, things cooling off a bit. The wind was blowing in fairly strong, 20-25 miles an hour before the game. It was coming in from the northwest. Now just a light breeze coming in from the east, and it's cooled off a bit. But at the half, it's 14-12. Gunnison Valley leads the Rich Rebels. We'll take a quick timeout. Be back with more of your Ellingford Brothers halftime show after this on the Wildlife and MyLocalRadio.com.
As the hospital closest to Bear Lake, professional medical care is always available at Bear Lake Memorial Hospital in Montpelier, Idaho. As a full-service hospital, Bear Lake Memorial offers an emergency room that's open 24/7. They treat patients of all ages. Other professional services include physicians' clinics, assisted living, home health services, counseling, dialysis, physical, occupational, and speech therapy, orthopedic care, and skilled nursing. Bear Lake Memorial Hospital in Montpelier, Idaho. Count on us to care.
When you want something custom built for your home, farm and ranch, vehicle, or trailer, it needs to be done with precision, be strong, and be affordable. Get all this and more when you work with the Steel Shop at Ellingford Brothers. You bring the plan or idea, and they'll make it a reality. The Steel Shop sells and installs vehicle accessories like bull bars, running boards, and bed liners. They also specialize in truck and trailer hitches as well. Get it built to last. Ellingford Brothers, 221 County Road in Evanston. This presentation of Rich High School Athletics on MyLocalRadio.com is brought to you by these Rebel Sports Boosters, LSR Refrigerated, and the Walletines in Garden City. Darren, Tricia, and the entire Walletine clan wish the Rebels good luck. And by CAD Answer Technical Services, proudly supporting the Rich Rebels. The staff at CAD Answer Technical Services wish the Rebels good luck on the field, on the court, in the classroom, and in life.
Go Rich Rebels!
Halftime show is brought to you by Ellingford Brothers, the best in specialized services, including construction, steel fabrication, sand and gravel, and so much more. That's ellingfordbros.com. It is homecoming night at Gunnison Valley High School. And at the half, the Bulldogs lead 14-12 on the Station on Main scoreboard. The Station on Main, how convenient. The coldest drinks in town. Speaking of in town, Rebel volleyball team was hosting Tabiona tonight in Randolph, and the teams had no trouble. The JV, or the freshmen rather, 1-4. They lost the third set 15-9, but then beat Tabiona 25-14, 25-13, and then in that final set 15-13. JV 1-3, dominant fashion, 25-9, 25-13, and 25-17, and the varsity 1-3. 25-19, 25-15, and 25-15. Now, some other action from earlier this week. The Rebel volleyball team swept Duchesne last night and dominated in set 3. It was a 3-set sweep for the Rebel volleyball team. They came from behind to win the second set and then crushed the Eagles in set 3. I think it was 25-6 in that final set. But two good wins for the Rebels volleyball team this week over Duchesne last night, over Tabiona tonight. Rebel football team, the JV squad, was in action last night at Star Valley. And the Rebels came away with a win in overtime, 28-22. So the JV team has won 2 in a row, including that win last night at Star Valley and a win a couple of weeks ago at Bear Lake. The freshman team lost last week at North Summit, 18-14, I believe. A close game, but a loss for the freshman football team. And tonight at the half on the Ellingford Brothers halftime show, Gunnison Valley on its home field leading 14-12 on the Station on Main scoreboard. Now, Gunnison Valley, so far, their freshman quarterback has not been real effective, neither through the air or on the ground. 1 of 3 for 9 yards through the air, and coming in, he had thrown no interceptions, no touchdowns, but had been a lot more efficient, 10 of 19 for 87 yards prior to tonight. Gunnison Valley he is the third guy that they've played at quarterback this year. Not necessarily the third chronologically, but they've played 3 different guys at quarterback. Brandon Tucker has attempted 9 passes for 45 yards and thrown an interception. Harley Hill has attempted 12 passes, 89 yards, has 1 interception. So you never know just what these guys are going to do but Coach King, I think, likes what he sees in his quarterback, John Hilden. Now, here's something interesting we haven't seen a whole lot of tonight, except at times, and it worked really well on that second possession for the Gunnison Valley Bulldogs. They did a lot of direct snaps to Brandon Tucker. And on direct snaps, I believe Tucker has 3 carries for 50 yards, One of those was a 40-yard run, and I've shorted him one rush as well. He's got 6 carries for 65 yards and a score, and that touchdown run was on a direct snap as well. So the direct snap has been an effective play, and watching these guys in warm-ups, when they direct snap, you got to hand it to John Wilden. He gets out in front to help block as a quarterback, and so Rich is going to have to watch out for that here in the second half. Now, the Rebels won the coin toss and elected to receive that first half kickoff. And again, looking back at that, the Rebels went 3 and out on that first possession, but then they forced a fumble and made good on a short field as Riley Carrillo threw to Kyler Wilson. The other Rebel touchdown came on at the end of an 8-play, 55-yard drive, and Riley Carrillo ran it in from 2 yards out on a quarterback keeper. The 2 touchdowns for Gunnison Valley. Zach Stewart recovered a Rebel fumble at the 5-yard line of Gunnison and took it all the way back, 95 yards for the score. They converted the 2-point conversion there. And then that other drive that was, as I mentioned, capped off by Brandon Tucker's 1-yard touchdown run. That was aided by a roughing the passer penalty on a Gunnison Valley running play. And that put Gunnison Valley up 14-6 at the time. Rich scored that Riley Carrillo touchdown on the next possession. Rebels have failed to convert on both extra point attempts. Their first one kicked was blocked. The second time they went for 2 and got stuffed. Now again, Rich having some success with a few different players. Riley Carrillo, 9 carries, 35 yards. Hayden Meek, 6 carries, 28 yards. And Stetson Huffaker, 6 carries for 22 yards. So it's a running back by committee tonight. Nobody really standing out, but everybody pitching in and doing a nice job. Rebel defense held Gunnison Valley to 55 yards of offense unofficially in that first half. Second half just about to get underway. Our halftime show has been brought to you by Ellingford Brothers, ellingfordbros.com. The best in specialized services including construction, steel fabrication, sand and gravel, and so much more. That's Ellingford Brothers. Visit ellingfordbros.com. Our third quarter presented by the town of Randolph. And Rich will kick off a Bear Lake Physical Therapy kickoff to start this second half action. Bear Lake Physical Therapy helping Rebels get back in the game since 1998. Huffaker with a long kick, fielded at the 12. Running to his left with some room, and then he's brought down. Nice open field tackle on the left sideline. Aiden Bound with a short return of about 18, maybe 20 yards. They'll spot Gunnison Valley at its own 33-yard line to start this drive. Third quarter just underway, brought to you by the town of Randolph. And Gunnison Valley has it. I'm just going to zoom in for the viewers at home. We'll zoom in just a little bit there. If you're watching online, the Bear Lake Realty camera. One man in tight on the left side, a very tight formation with Wilden in the shotgun. Takes the snap, fakes one way, gives the other, and some room to run. A flag flies as they bring him down at the 40. Another flag flies on what looks like a separate call. Holding is the one in the backfield, and that's against the Bulldogs. The second penalty, that one in the backfield is back at the 30. That second penalty, it looks like, was probably also a holding penalty. And so they'll mark the one that occurred first. Gunnison Valley, 6 penalties. That one occurred 3 yards deep in the backfield, so it does count as a 13-yard penalty, 73 yards against Gunnison Valley in infractions. Negates the carry by Colby Olson that was about an 8-yard pickup. And sets Gunnison up with a 1st and 23 at its own 20-yard line. Wilden in the shotgun, 2 receivers wide right. He's back looking to throw. Throws short and underneath. Brandon Tucker slides back to it and makes the catch. Good grab and a nice job by these officials. The line judge, Tucker's body shielded his view of it, so he looked to his official in the center of the field who said, yes, that was a catch. I like that teamwork. And it's complete to the 22-yard line. A 2-yard gain on the play. Second down, 21 to go for this Bulldogs offense. They need just inside their own 43-yard line to move the chains. Tight formation again. Wingbacks on the left side, 2 in the backfield. and Wilden under center. Takes the snap, runs left, gives to Zach, or the pitch, the snap was to Zach Stewart, and he's around the left side, but the Rebels string it out and bring him down after a gain of about 5 to the 27, maybe the 28. We'll find out where they spot it. It is the 28-yard line, a 6-yard gain for Stewart. He's at 5 carries for 2 yards. He recovered a fumble or a bad snap for a 12-yard loss. And that's taken him into the negative, into the red. 3rd down and 15. Bulldogs at their own 28-yard line. Again, the tight formation. Snap, and Stewart running to his right. Stops. He's wrapped up by Bridger Weston from behind and will not even make it back. Oh, he did get back to the line of scrimmage. They'll spot him out at the 30. A 2-yard gain. Well short of the yard to gain. And Gunnison Valley faces a 4th down and 12 at its own 30. Hayden Meek and Flint Silva back to return the punt. John Wilden goes up high to field a high snap and gets off a nice driving spiral. Meek fields it at the 33. Makes a man miss to the 40. Across the 40, near the 45. Finally wrapped up and spun down. And Rich will start with good field position. Trailing 14-12 on the station on main scoreboard. Rebel defense does its job. From its own 45-yard line, 3rd quarter. 9:16 left here in the 3rd. Let's mark Hayden Meek down for a 13-yard return on that punt return. Rebels taking their time in the huddle. They're going to have to hurry once they break. Time running down on the play clock. They hustle up to the line of scrimmage. 2 wide right. I formation behind Carrillo under center, and a whistle. Oh, the flag flies for delay of game. I thought they were taking too long. And Rich will drive themselves back 5 yards. 42 yards on 5 penalties against Rich. They line right back up to run what is likely the same play on 1st and 15. Carrillo takes the snap, gives to Meek up the middle, and he pushes back out to near the original line of scrimmage. Was that Meek? We haven't seen Huffaker in for a while. Or there's Huffaker right there, the fullback. Meek, the tailback. And so Hayden picks up 5. 33 yards on 7 carries. Close to 5 yards per carry. But Rich, a little bit of a shot in the foot because of that penalty. Instead of 2nd and 5, it's 2nd and 10. Again, the I formation, Carrillo under center, 2 receivers wide right, man coverage out there. Riley back looking to throw, thinks about over the middle, then goes deep down the right sideline. A flag is down as the pass goes too long and incomplete for Jaden Grohl. It was over his shoulder, but it may be a defensive holding. That's where the flag flew, is where Rich was trying to find some open space for the receivers. The referee comes over and says holding on the defense. And Gunnison Valley will look back at tonight and say, guys, especially if they lose, they'll look back and say, we've got to cut down on the penalties. 83 yards on 7 infractions, and that one gives the Rebels a comprehensive family dental 1st down in Bulldog territory at the 45. I formation, Carrillo turns and gives to Meek, wrapped up immediately. Big penetration. Talmadge Jensen got into the backfield, and Meek didn't even quite get back to the line of scrimmage. A loss of 1. Back to the 46-yard line, right in between the 45 and 46. If you want to get specific, it's a loss of about a half a yard. 14-12, Gunnison Valley leads. A 95-yard scoop and score for Zach Stewart has been one of the big differences in this game, and Gunnison Valley's lead. 2nd down and 11. I form behind Carrillo. Steps back, rolls right, looking to throw, looks, right sideline for Connor Greer, and he makes the catch. Inbounds, is brought down near the first down marker, a couple of yards short, about the 37. So Carrillo spreading the ball around. This time he's completed 3 passes to 3 different receivers. This one to the 38, an 8-yard play. And let's see, do I have Connor Greer on my stat sheet? I don't. 8-yard catch for Greer, brings up a 3rd and 3. Rebels at the Gunnison Valley 38. 1 man wide left, that's Riley Taylor. 2 wide right, Carrillo keeps it himself, plants a foot, drives forward, and again, his offensive line plows the way. Carrillo with a first down inside the Gunnison Valley 35 to the 34-yard line. And give some credit to Buckwheat, to big Justin Adams, the center, paving the way. Not a Sabey Trucking offensive line hole, but a push for 4 yards. And a Comprehensive Family Dental first down. Three receivers to the left side. Carrillo running the option, cuts upfield, and he's hit, knocked down, got back to the line of scrimmage, but no more.
Tackled by 7, Dylan Anderson.
Actually lost about a half a yard.
Stewart.
Oof. That PA man, I think, turned up his volume during the halftime. I don't feel like it was so loud in that first half. Speaking of which, we need to move to our second half camera. Brought to you by Bear Lake Realty. Our halftime show was brought to you by Ellingford Brothers. Third quarter presented by the town of Randolph. 2nd down and 10. Rebels with a pro formation in the backfield. 2 receivers on the right. Carrillo fakes the handoff and to the first man, gives it to the second man. And I think that ball carrier this time was Hayden Meek, who runs forward for a gain of a couple behind his right guard. And from 2nd and about 10.5 to 3rd and 8.5. At the 32-yard line, a 2-yard gain for Meek. Rebels trailing 14-12 at Gunnison Valley. Rebels went scoreless in the first 2 weeks of the season, scored 2 touchdowns in the first half tonight. 2 receivers wide right, 2 wide left. A little bit of movement on the defensive line, but not into the neutral zone. Carrillo runs to his left, runs back to his right. Thinks about throwing, does. It's underthrown and incomplete. On the right sideline, little indecisiveness by Carrillo. He probably had room to get close to, if not a first down, had he tucked and run. Threw late, and that indecision, I think, caused him to throw a bit low and incomplete. Riley tonight, 3 of 6, 50% for 32 yards. He's hit 3 different receivers. The Rebels line up to go for it on a 4th and 9. It's a long 8. We'll call it 9 at the Gunnison Valley 33. 2 receivers left, 2 wide right. Riley back, looking to throw. Good protection up front. Nope, a flag flies as Riley tucks, runs, picks up the first down, driving through, breaking tackles all the way down to the 20. But unfortunately, this one is coming back. A hold against Rich back at the 35.
On the Rebels.
Carrillo, a punishing runner, broke 2 or 3 tackles just to get down to the first down marker. And unfortunately for him and the Rebels, the hold will bring it back. It occurred a couple of yards behind the line of scrimmage. So it goes in the books as a 12-yard penalty and puts Rich's total to 6 penalties for 54 yards. And now does Rich line up to punt it away? I think they do on a 4th down and 22. Stetson Uffaker set to punt it away. Rich trailing 14-12. Past the midway point in the town of Randolph third quarter. Rich scrambling to get the right guys in the right places. They do, I think, just in time. The snap is right on target. Huffaker gets off a nice high punt, fielded at the 14-yard line. Around the left side, working his way out of bounds, is Jack Hansen, a 6 foot, 154-pound sophomore. Number 58, he's listed as a free safety, a running back, and an athlete, plays on the offensive line. Rebels with an illegal substitution. So Gunnison Valley has a decision. Do we take it 1st and 10 from our own about the 30-35, or do we force the Rebels to punt it again? Looks like they'll accept the penalty and force Rich to punt it again. That's 59 yards of penalties against Rich tonight.
Move them back 5 yards and repunt.
Whoa, whoa. A 15-yard penalty for illegal substitution? That's a big penalty. Huffaker fields a nice snap and punts it off the side of his foot, right side. Takes a bit of a Rebel roll to the 39, and Gunnison Valley will take over at about the same spot they would have taken over. They gained about 4 yards, which is pretty good. So Gunnison Valley from its own 40. Third quarter. 4:06 left here in the third. Rebels had a little something going on that drive, just couldn't sustain it. Rich scored first. Gunnison Valley scored 14 unanswered, and then Rich put in another touchdown, but has failed on both its conversion attempts. One a kick, one a 2-point attempt that was stuffed. Tight formation for the Bulldogs. 2 slot receivers on the right side are wingbacks. I guess one's a tight end technically. And the direct snap to Brandon Tucker around the right side. Drug and then hit hard and driven into the ground by Kyler Wilson. He was slowed down, then Kyler Wilson came in for cleanup. A short gain for Tucker to the 42. He's at 7 carries, 67 yards, and a touchdown. 2nd and 8. Gunnison Valley attacking left to right at mylocalradio.com. Quarterback John Wilden has to go have a quick chat with Coach King. Patrick King, a Florida man, but from northern Florida, just on the border of Georgia. He's a Georgia Bulldogs fan. So he went from the Georgia Bulldogs of red and black to the Gunnison Valley Bulldogs of white and blue, or blue and white. Direct snap again to Tucker. Breaks a tackle and breaks another. He's off to the races. The 40, down the right sideline to the 30, and he's finally tripped up by Hayden Meek, a touchdown-saving tackle at the 20. And Brandon Tucker, who came into the game averaging just under 4 yards per carry, is averaging about 15 yards per carry tonight, all the way down to the 18. That's a 40-yard run. His second 40-yard run of the night puts him at 107 rushing yards on 8 carries. Cameraman tonight, Holt Argyle. Can you do that math? 107 divided by 8? That's about 14 yards per carry. Tight formation again with Brandon Tucker getting the direct snap. A counter, and he gives to the right side, but Stetson Huffaker is having none of that. He keeps his assignment and brings Colby Olson down after a short gain of about 2.
Run by 13, Colby Olson.
They'll spot Olson at the 16-yard line, so it is a gain of 2. Brandon Tucker, 8 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown. 80 of those yards have come on 2 carries. The other 27 on his other 6 carries. He's broken a couple of big ones, and this one has his team, that last run moments ago by Tucker, has his team set up in Rebel territory at the 16-yard line for a 2nd and 8. 2 in the backfield again with Wilden and Tucker. Tight formation, 2 on the left side, tight end on the right. Wilden, hard, long count, takes the snap again to Tucker. Brandon starts left and cuts up field, and boy, he is a downhill runner when he gets going. Inside the 5 to the 3, a 13-yard gain for Brandon Tucker. And this direct snap, power football, is very effective for the Bulldogs. Rebels have yet to find an answer to slow this running attack down when the Bulldogs go to the power attack. Look for a direct snap to Tucker here as Wilden is in the shotgun and Tucker's on his left hip. Wilden calls for it, and the snap comes to Tucker, but it is blown dead. An illegal procedure against the Rebels is what the official indicated. What the referee said. He said illegal procedure and pointed to Rich, but obviously that's not the case. It's against the Bulldogs. Eight penalties, 88 yards against Gunnison Valley. That pushes them back to the 8-yard line. And they'll retry on first down, a first and goal. Bulldogs looking to extend their lead, 14-12 with under a minute to go in the Town of Randolph third quarter. Wilden in the shotgun. Tucker on his left hip, ball on the ground. Wilden goes to his knee, picks it up, and starts to run, but the whistle blows it dead back at about the 12. A couple levels up, and you can jump up from a knee if you're untouched, but here at the high school level, that obviously is a dead ball. A loss of 4. That goes in the books as a sack, the third of the day for John Wilden. Minus 19 yards in sacks. Second down and goal. Make it third and goal. No, it should be second, I thought. Wilden, hands off. Tucker breaks a tackle, lowers the shoulders inside the 5, down near the 2. Boy, he is a hard runner. Coach Patrick King said, Brandon Tucker is my hardest runner. And you can see that showing on a run like that. Down marker says 4th and goal. They spot him down at about the 1, but that takes us to the end of the third quarter. Gunnison Valley leading 14-12 on the Station on Main scoreboard on the Wildlife and mylocalradio.com.
Established in 1870, Randolph, Utah is home. Home to the rich rebels, to hardy people of high character, and to values of dedication, honesty, hard work, education, and respect for self and others. Randolph is also home to friendly folks who love their families, their town, and their neighbors. Count yourself a neighbor whenever you visit Randolph, Utah. Mayor Lynn Weston and the Town Council of Randolph wish the rich rebels good luck and invite you to visit anytime.
Serving Wyoming since 1941, Plains Tire is Wyoming's oldest and largest tire dealer with great locations throughout the state. They'll get you the right tires that offer the best results for your vehicle at the lowest prices, guaranteed. Plus, you can go to any Plains Tire Pro dealer with their nationwide warranty service. And check out their Plains Tire phone app.
Come down and see us at Plains Tires on 157 Bear River Drive for all your automotive needs. Hablamos también español.
Nearing the end of the third quarter, Bulldogs of Gunnison Valley leading 14-12 and knocking on the door. Actually, we finished up that Town of Randolph third quarter, and we start the Bear Lake Realty fourth quarter. Rebels down by 2, 4th and goal at about the 1.5 for Gunnison Valley. The snap, and Wilden is into the end zone untouched behind the left side of his line. They got a nice seal block. And the Bulldogs push the lead out to 8 points. A 1-yard touchdown run by the freshman, John Wilden. 7 plays, 60 yards on that drive. Two-point conversion, Zach Stewart given the football, and he drives into the end zone. 2-point conversion is good, and that's a big one, because it makes it a 10-point game instead of an 8-point lead for Gunnison Valley on the Wildlife and mylocalradio.com.
Super kids deserve super care. Experience the difference with board-certified pediatricians Alan Brown, MD, and Bird Gilmartin, MD, at Uinta Medical Group. Whether it's tracking your child's overall health at Well Child Checks or helping your little ones feel better when they're sick, Dr. Brown and Dr. Gilmartin are here to help your child grow, learn, and thrive. Schedule an appointment with Dr. Brown or Dr. Gilmartin by calling 307-789-WELL 9355 or visit evanstonanytime.com.
A nice drive put together by the Gunnison Valley Bulldogs. 7 plays, 60 yards, 4 minutes, 9 seconds. They convert on a 4th and goal at the 1. John Wilden punches it in. Plus, they make the extra point, a 2-point conversion to push the lead from 8 to 10. So Rich trailing by 2 scores as we start the Bear Lake Realty 4th quarter. Gary and Amber McKee in Garden City, the most experienced and highest volume realty in the Bear Lake Valley. Wilden boots it deep and over the Rebels' heads. It dies at the 2. Scooped up by Kyler Wilson, running to his left across the 20, 25. Skips a tackle to the 25-yard line and is stood up and pushed out there. A decent return for Kyler Wilson. Gives the Rebels a 1st and 10, needing to find some offense. They scored on a short field on their 2nd possession of the game. Were knocking on the door and fumbled on their 3rd possession of the game, and then on a possession just before the half, put together a nice 8-play, 55-yard drive. They'll need to go 75 yards to punch it in on this drive from their own 25-yard line, 1st and 10. Twins outright, 1 receiver left, I formation. Carrillo turns and gives, and nowhere to go left side for, I believe, Hayden Meek. Stood up, spun around, and dropped. They'll give him the line of scrimmage, but no gain. Meek in the first half, 6 carries, 28 yards. Second half, 4 carries, 6 yards. That I formation has not had the same success here in the 3rd quarter as it had in the 2nd quarter. Rich. And halftime adjustments have been big, as we saw from Gunnison Valley's offense. They moved the ball nicely down the field on that last possession. 2 receivers wide right. Again, I formation, 1 out wide left. Carrillo takes the snap, option, pulls it, tucks it, and drives out, trying to get to the 30. Will be stopped at about the 28. Connor Greer was set to make a block had Carrillo cut to the outside, but Riley thought he saw a lane to the inside and gained about 3 to the 28-yard line. This is a critical moment. Gunnison Valley leads by 2 scores, and the way their offense has operated in this second half on their last 2 drives, Rebels have got to keep the football, maintain possession. The other thing is the Gunnison Valley's offense is designed to just chip away, eat up the clock, and make long, slow, methodical drives. So a 3rd down and a critical 7 for Rich. I formation with 2 receivers left. Carrillo fakes the handoff left, runs the option, pitches out to Jaden Grohl. He'll be stopped in the backfield. Did not get the blocking they needed around the left side. Grohl brought down back at the 25. A loss of 3, Grohl's first carry of the season. And Rich faces a 4th and 10 from its own 25-yard line. We'll have to trust its defense as the Rebels line up to punt it away. The Gunnison Valley will get it back with plenty of time left in the Bear Lake Realty 4th quarter. Huffaker, good snap. Gets off a nice long spiral punt. Bounces, hit the punt return man at the 25. He loses it. It's on the turf. Rebels, 2 of them dive toward it. A scrum for the football. Rebels kind of a reactionary, it's our ball from a couple of the guys. There's a pile up, and Rebel football at the 24. Credit the coverage team there. Rich muffed a punt earlier today. And now Gunnison Valley muffs a punt. Rich with new life. 1st and 10 at the Gunnison Valley 24-yard line. Bear Lake Realty 4th quarter, 9:25 left to go on the Station on Main scoreboard. Gunnison Valley leading by 2 scores, 22-12. 2 receivers out wide to the right. I formation behind Carrillo in the under center. Riley takes the snap, fakes the give to the fullback, running the option out right. Late pitch. He's got Meek inside at the 20. Cuts forward to the 15, wrapped up and pulled back down. That looked like a wrestler making that tackle in Greg Leafting, a 5'7", 145-pound junior. He just wrapped up Meek and pulled him back and down to the floor. To the turf. To the 15-yard line. a 9-yard run for Hayden Meek on the option. It was a triple option play. And the Rebels are at the 15-yard line of Gunnison Valley. A 2nd down and 1. Carrillo keeps it himself. 1st down and more. And he gets all the way almost to the 10. I think they'll spot him right about the 11-yard line. Clock continues to run. A comprehensive family dental 1st down for Riley Carrillo. And they spot it at the 12, so a 3-yard gain. Puts Carrillo at 13 carries for 43 yards. 1st and 10. Rebels can get a 1st down at the 2. Needing to score here with time running down in the Bear Lake Realty 4th quarter. 8:20 left to go. Rich hustles up to the line. Huffaker and Meek in the I formation behind Carrillo. Pressure coming from the left. Give to Meek coming from the right side of the Rebel offense, and the Rebels went that direction right into the pressure and got stuffed. Looks like they'll give Meek the line of scrimmage. No gain. Meek, 12 carries, 43 yards by my tally. Actually, maybe he lost a half a yard on that run. Riley Taylor in. Meek was headed to the sideline, but then sprints back to the huddle. The Rebels wisely hold the huddle till he gets back, call the play, but now they'll have to hustle to avoid a delay of game. 7.5 left. The line judge starts to count. 5-4, the back judge rather. 3-2. Carrillo takes the snap just before the delay. Gives to Huffaker, moving left, and he is sandwiched. Nowhere to go. A lot of extra contact after the whistle. And they give Huffaker, I think, the 11-yard line. Half a yard gain. Timeout, Rebels, with 7:12 left to go in the Bear Lake Realty 4th quarter. Gunnison Valley leads 22-12 on the Station on Main scoreboard.
This is Rich Rebel Senior Austin Peterson, and you're tuned in to Rich High School Football on KADQ and mylocalradio.com.
It's human nature to think the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. That's not always true, especially when it comes to buying vehicles. This is Dennis Lynch, General Manager at Auto Farm Chevrolet. Dealerships pay the same price for new vehicles across America. The fact is, the best deals are right here, in your own backyard. The difference is that our employees are your neighbors, people you can trust. Please visit us first, Auto Farm Chevrolet. We are your community-driven dealer.
A crucial 3rd down and 10 for the Rebel offense. They're in 4-down territory, especially, knowing what Huffaker can do from the field goal perspective. A field goal would be a good option here if they can hit it. But a 3rd down and 10, I formation behind Carrillo. Riley takes the snap, looks right. He's got Riley Taylor in and out of his hands in the middle of the end zone. Riley is mad at himself, as you may ever see, as he let that ball slip through his hands, incomplete. Would have been 6 points. Instead, it brings up a 4th and 10 at the Gunnison Valley 11-yard line. It's homecoming night at Gunnison Valley. They've won no state championships. In fact, they've never made it to a state championship. And for Gunnison Valley, its last winning season was in 2005. The last few years have been similar to what the last few years have been for Rich. 1 2-win seasons, 0 wins a year ago. I formation behind Carrillo on a 4th and 10. Takes the snap, rolls to his left, pressure comes, he heaves it deep in the end zone. A flag flies as it's intercepted at the goal line. Rebels wrap the man up and bring him down to about the 2. But the flag, there were 2 flags that flew in. These, one or the other, could make all the difference on this play. A lot of pressure, and Riley Carrillo just had to get rid of it. The officials confer, discuss, chat, talk. Meet, continue to communicate. Now the Whitecap referee separates himself. Pass interference on the defense. Rebel football, it maintains, but will be 4th down and about 4.
Pass interference penalty on the Bulldogs.
That's the second pass interference of the game. Half the distance to the goal is a 6-yard penalty. That's 94 yards in penalties against Gunnison Valley. And it sets Rich up with a 4th down and long 4. We'll just call it 5. At about the 6-yard line. Rich with a trips right. Surprised Coach Grohl isn't thinking kick a field goal with a chance to tie it up later on. He wants the touchdown now. If you kick the field goal, you keep yourself in it. If you don't score the touchdown here, you're probably done. Carrillo with Jaden Rao behind him, and Rich takes a timeout. 6:59 left in the Bear Lake Realty 4th quarter. We'll take a quick one as well and be right back on the Wildlife and mylocalradio.com.
If the idea of owning your own home in beautiful Bear Lake sounds like more than your finances can handle, visit the experts at Bear Lake Realty to learn how you can make it happen. Gary and Amber McKee at Bear Lake Realty can show you how to buy a home and rent it out, so it pays for itself while you enjoy it some of the time as well. And soon, you'll have your own place in the Caribbean of the Rockies. No one knows the market better, and no one else serves you better than Bear Lake Realty.
4th and 5 for the Rebels in Gunnison Valley territory at the 6-yard line. Trips to the right side. Rich trails 22-12 in the Bear Lake Realty 4th quarter. Jaden Rao, the lone back behind Carrillo. Riley takes the snap, rolling to his right. Pressure comes. He goes back to his left and gets away. Throws to the back of the end zone. Way overthrown, incomplete. And that ends the scoring opportunity for the Rich Rebel offense. Carrillo now 3 of 8 for 32 yards. And Rich turns it over on downs. Gunnison Valley takes over deep in its own territory at the 6-yard line. 4th quarter, 6:52 left to go. Bear Lake Realty 4th quarter. Gary and Amber McKee in Garden City, the most experienced and highest volume realtors in the Bear Lake Valley. Visit BearLakeRealty.com. Buy a home. They can show you how to rent it out so it pays for itself. You can enjoy it some of the time as well, and soon you own your own home in beautiful Bear Lake. Bulldogs in that tight formation. Wilden calling for the snap. Man moves in motion. The snap, and a flag flies as Wilden gets it and gives to Tucker. He's brought down right at the line of scrimmage. So no gain on the play. And let's see what the call is. Illegal shift against Gunnison Valley. I think if you're Rich, you probably decline that because half the distance of the goal is only a 2-yard penalty, and then they replay the down. If Rich declines it, it was no gain. Yeah, Rich declines the penalty. With 6:26 left to go in the Bear Lake Realty 4th quarter. Gunnison Valley takes a timeout. And let me just check here. Yeah, we'll keep it here during this timeout. It was no gain on the play. And I believe the give was to Brandon Tucker, who has 11 carries for 131 yards on the night. That's almost 13 yards per carry. We'll invite you real quickly to stay tuned for our post-game show brought to you by Epic Recreation. Make your vacation in Bear Lake a rental, an epic one to remember for all your rentals in Bear Lake. Visit Epic Recreation. We'll also take this moment to thank one of our sponsors, one of our big sponsors, Bear Lake Realty. It's the Bear Lake Realty fan cam. Some Rebel fans across the way. The ones that didn't stay to watch Rebel volleyball tonight beat Tabiona. Bear Lake Realty fan cam. Give Bear Lake Realty a call today, 435-946-8888. Bulldogs back out on the field. Rebels out there defensively. Gunnison Valley, a tight formation, leading 22-12. 2nd down and 10 after a no gain on 1st down. The snap and everybody moving right. Tucker gets the handoff. Brandon picks his way forward and continues to just run hard, clear out to the 20-yard line. A 14-yard gain. Boy, and it's feast or famine with him. Mostly has been feast tonight. 145 yards on 12 carries. He's had one time he was brought down in the backfield, a couple times when he's gained 0 or maybe 2 to 3 yards, but most of his carries have been double digits. I'll tell you a little bit more about that here in a second. Under 6 minutes to go in the Bear Lake Realty fourth quarter. Wilden in the shotgun, calls for it. Direct snap to Tucker. Brandon running left, breaks a tackle out to the 30. He's close to another first down. They spotted him down the last time at about the 22. This is an 8-yard gain. And that puts Brandon Tucker at 155 yards. He's got, let's see, of 13 carries, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are double digits. And he has 2 carries of 40 yards each. He's definitely, as Coach Patrick King said during our pregame interview with him, a hard runner. Rich needing a defensive stop here. They failed tonight on both their Rich County 4-H extra point opportunities. Tucker again gets the handoff. Big hole right side. First down and more at the 40. Finally wrapped up and brought down about the 42 or the 43-yard line. That'll move the chains again. One more of these and Rich will be out of time. And by these, I mean first downs. Another first down. Rich will not have time to climb back into this one. Their percentages already dropping. A 13-yard gain on that run by Brandon Tucker. One of the few seniors on this squad, as far as guys who start, that is. There are a few others. Wilden, a freshman, though. 168 rushing yards for Brandon Tucker. He's on Wilden's left hip. Bulldogs take their time, a low snap. Tucker goes back and falls on it, back around the 30. But clock continues to run. The Station on Main scoreboard. 4 minutes left to go, and Rich down by 2 scores, 22-12. They'll spot that back at the 31-yard line, a loss of 12. Tucker fell on it, so that brings his total back down to 158 yards on 15 carries. That's 10.5 yards per carry. Down to about 3.5 minutes left on a 2nd and 22. Wilden taking his time, looking for that back judge to start counting down to 5, 4, then takes the snap. It's a direct snap again to Brandon Tucker, who pushes off the right side of the line, or up the right side of the line, out near the 35-yard line. A Bulldog a bit slow to get up is Zach Stewart, but he then gets up and jogs back to the huddle. So Brandon Tucker to the 33 on that carry. 2 yards, and we're down under 3 minutes to go. Tucker has been the offense for this team tonight. The Bulldogs have 11 passing yards. Nobody else. Well, Zach Stewart has 4 rushing yards. John Wilden has minus 17 rushing yards, and a late timeout in the play clock for the Gunnison Valley Bulldogs with 2:42 left to go. We take a timeout as well in the Bear Lake Realty fourth quarter. 22-12, Bulldogs lead on the Wildlife at mylocalradio.com.
At beautiful Bear Lake, skiing, snowmobiling, sailing, and swimming are just some of the fun activities offered to recreationists. The Greater Bear Lake Valley offers prime hunting and fishing areas, whether it's trout fishing in the streams or ice fishing for Cisco on the lake, hunting deer or seeking elk along the high mountain ridges. The scenic corner of Utah and Idaho offers outdoor recreation and historical interests away from crowds and high prices. Visit bearlake.org for more information.
Back at Gunnison Valley, 2:42 left to go. And Colin, to respond to your message, the clock run through. There's been a few clock running issues tonight. Snap direct to Brandon Carlson, or Brandon Tucker again breaks a tackle or two across the 40, tripped up back at the original line of scrimmage at the Gunnison Valley 43-yard line, and Gunnison Valley takes a timeout. No, Rich takes a timeout. Line judge on the Rebel sideline emphatically said Gunnison Valley timeout. The Whitecap, the referee said Rich Rebel timeout. We'll keep it right here during this timeout and examine a little bit the situation. Rebels down by 2 scores with 2:32 left to go. And Gunnison Valley has a 4th down and 10 from its own 43-yard line. Now, Brandon Tucker is averaging, let's see, that was a 10-yard gain. So he is, by my stats, averaging exactly 10 yards per carry. Now, some have gone for 2, 0, 2, -2, but most have been 10-yard carries or better. Looks like Gunnison Valley will line up to punt it away. Expecting Rich does not have time to make enough happen. 2:32 left to go. Rebels pressure. Wilden gets off a low line drive punt that goes toward the Gunnison Valley sideline. Takes a bounce back inbounds and dies at about the 23. Killed by Carson Tucker, the sophomore wide receiver for the Bulldogs. And Rich takes over, so the defense does its job to an extent, but a lot of time ran off the clock. That last possession for Gunnison Valley lasted better than 4.5 minutes. 2:25 left to go.
Once again, we'd like to give a special
Rich starting from its own 24-yard line. And I can't help but wonder, had Rich kicked a field goal on that last possession rather than going for it on 4th and goal, it would be a 7-point game instead of a 2-score, 10-point deficit. Carrillo pulls in a low snap, beats some pressure, heaves it downfield, picked off at the 40 to the 35. Colby Olson listed on Deseret News with 6 interceptions on the season. Coach King's hoping, no, he's got 2 or 3. Make it 3 or 4. Colby Olson with the INT. Carrillo's second half, one to be forgotten. 1 of 5, 8 yards and a pick, and that will likely ice it. Gunnison Valley, 2 minutes and 15 seconds away from picking up its first win of the season. At the Rebel 30-yard line, a first down, and this one is certainly over. Tucker running right on a direct snap, picks up about 3 around the outside. Rich scored first, but then Gunnison Valley scored 14 unanswered. The Rebels almost tied it just before the half. And then the Bulldogs scored once more midway through the third to give us the score we have now. And this second half has belonged to Tucker, Brandon Tucker. He gets the direct snap again around the left side, slips down back at the line of scrimmage. Probably no gain, but the clock under a minute and a half left to go. Give him 1 yard on the play. 19 carries, 174 yards. His average under 10 now at this point, but he's got a touchdown, 2 runs of 40 yards each, plus 7 or 8 others of double-digit yardage. 3rd down and 5 for the Bulldogs. Again, the direct snap to Tucker. Brandon straight up the middle. Rebels wrap him up and pull him down after a short gain to the 23. Not enough for the first down, but the clock under a minute to go and counting. 3 yards for Brandon Tucker puts him at 177 total tonight. Gunnison Valley will have to either run one more play or take a delay of game, but even then that would stop the clock. They're going to have to do something here, and it looks like Coach King may just call a timeout here at the last second to avoid a delay of game. The back linesman is counting down the 5 seconds, and Coach King takes a timeout just before the delay of game. 4th down and 3 with 16.9 seconds left to go. Gunnison Valley has all but won it. Whether they go for it or punt it away, Rich just will not have time to make anything else happen. 22-12. Gunnison Valley with the lead. They came in at 0-3, having lost to Milford, lost to a then undefeated Kanab, and lost to still undefeated Monticello, pending what Monticello did tonight at Millard. Now that's a tough matchup. Millard has looked very good. The only teams in 2A that have looked better so far this season, Beaver and Milford, and those two teams are matching up tonight in Beaver. I've tried to find scores but have been unsuccessful in that. Any of you listening at home who may know a score, boy, I'd sure appreciate an update on that if you know a score. But a 4th down and 3, Gunnison Valley will attempt a field goal. The hold at the 30. So this is a 40-yard field goal attempt for John Wilden, and why not, to see how it works when you're going to win anyway. Good snap, the hold, the kick, a low line drive, misses wide left, hits one of the flags in the back of the end zone. So the 40-yard field goal misses wide left. And Rich takes over with 13.3 seconds to go at its own 23-yard line, 4th quarter.
Once again, please help our
Gotta love the effort from the Rebels tonight. They scored first, had a 6-0 lead for a bit of the game, had a second chance to score, but a big play, a fumble return, 95 yards for a touchdown by Gunnison Valley's Zach Stewart. Shifted totally, not shifted, totally switched the momentum to the home team, and Gunnison Valley cruised from there. They scored 14 straight. And 22-6, they outscored Rich after the Rebels scored that first 6 points. Carrillo under center, takes the snap, rolls to his right. Rebels looking for the hook and lateral, but the throw intended for Kyler Wilson is high. Flint Silva was the man coming up underneath. Pass falls incomplete went too high for Kyler Wilson. 8.9 seconds to go. We saw Rich run that hook and lateral successfully a bunch of times last year, but they miss high, incomplete. 2nd down and 10. See if they try to run that again. Wilson wide on the right side. Carrillo takes the snap and heaves it deep down the right sideline. He's got Wilson, who makes the catch. 40, 45, 50 across midfield, brought down at 0.7 seconds left in the ball game. Gunnison Valley begins to celebrate. Did Rich call for a timeout? No. They stopped the clock for the first down. It's a final comprehensive family dental first down of the game. Start the clock, and that's the ball game. Gunnison Valley wins 22-12. A nice completion. No, they're going to keep teams out there, and now they do say, that's it, boys. 22-12, the final score. Gunnison Valley earns its first win of the season. This 4th quarter has been brought to you by Bear Lake Realty. Visit BearLakeRealty.com, the most experienced and highest volume realtor in Bear Lake. We'll be right back with your Epic Recreation postgame show.
Whether you're kicking up dust in the hills, making waves down on the lake, or taking advantage of the world's greatest powder, don't just hope to have fun. Take that sled by the handlebars and make your time at Bear Lake epic. Epic Recreation rents equipment and cabins for your vacation fun at beautiful Bear Lake. From watercraft large and small to UTVs, sleds, and more, Epic Recreation has it all to go on-road, off-road, or out on the Caribbean blue water. Book your adventure at epicrecreation.net. What could be better than a fresh, mouth-watering burger from the Crawford Trough in Randolph? Top it with cheese and thick-cut bacon, or throw in some mushrooms and make it a double. Now we're talking. Add home-cut fries and a creamy shake, and you might just think you're in paradise. With crisp salads and tasty wraps, plus onion rings, perfectly cooked chicken, cold drinks, and silky smooth ice cream, the Crawford Trough is the place to eat and drink at 120 South Main in Randolph.
Well, I hope you can hear me. I can't hear myself with the music playing as Gunnison Valley celebrates its first win of the season and a win on homecoming night. And riding them to victory was Tucker Carlson. We'll tell you about that right now on our post-game show, brought to you by Epic Recreation. Visit epicrecreation.net to make your vacation an epic one to remember. It's time for the Jimmy John's Freaky Fast Recap. Jimmy John's at 113 Front Street in Evanston, where fresh and fast meat. Rebel football on the road for the 2A North Region opener at Gunnison Valley on homecoming night for the Bulldogs. And Rich jumped out to a 6-0 lead to get the scoring going. After a 3-and-out, the Rebels punted, but on Gunnison Valley's first play from scrimmage, Rich forced a fumble. Stetson Huffaker recovered, and Rich went 4 plays. Riley Carrillo found Kyler Wilson over the middle for a 14-yard touchdown pass that put Rich up 6-0. They failed on the extra point. Gunnison Valley then scored 14 unanswered, including a 95-yard fumble return for a score by Zach Stewart, and then a 1-yard touchdown run by Brandon Tucker made it 14-6. Gunnison Valley had the lead at that point. Rich, on its very next possession, put together an 8-play, 55-yard drive, came to within 2, 14-12, but failed on the 2-point conversion attempt. In the second half, the Rebel offense just couldn't find its stride. And on the other side of the ball, Gunnison Valley found its stride in a big way. Brandon Tucker, who had 64 rushing yards in the first half, added on another 113 rushing yards in the second half and paced the Bulldogs to another touchdown in that second half. They went up 22-12. Rich could not answer. They had one more chance down inside the red zone, but failed on a 4th-and-goal attempt. And Gunnison Valley holds on for a homecoming win, 22-12 at Gunnison on this Friday night. That's your Jimmy John's Freaky Fast Recap. Jimmy John's at 113 Front Street in Evanston. We'll take a quick break. Coach Justin Grohl will join us on the post-game show as the Stacy's Repair post-game diagnostics is coming up next. We'll also hear on our Rebel Sports update from Aaron Worthland, Rebel Cross Country coach, and we've got your Western Ag Credit Roundup calendar coming up on the post-game show. Brought to you by Epic Recreation on the Wildlife and MyLocalRadio.com.
When T7 Propane in Woodruff, Utah is your propane supplier, you get reliable, safe, and professional propane service. And that's not all. T7 Propane offers years of expertise, quality product, and the most responsive propane service in the area. For home or other heating needs, cooking, grilling, motor fuel, and more, count on the team at T7 for professional or business propane needs. Call 435-793-4208. That's 435-793-4208.
Is it time to stop wishing for your dream home in beautiful Bear Lake? If you're ready to make your dream a reality, Bear Lake Realty can help. With residential and land listings, including vacation properties, timeshares, cabins, condos, beachfront, lake view, and more, Bear Lake Realty has what you're looking for. And with more than 30 years of real estate experience in the area, you know you're working with the best. Visit BearLakeRealty.com and come and enjoy the Caribbean of the Rockies with us.
Well, the scene before you is the scene of celebration for the Gunnison Valley Bulldogs. A double win tonight as they pick up their first win of the season. It's also homecoming night for Gunnison Valley, so a big win tonight over the Rich Rebels at Gunnison Valley High School. Coach Justin Grohl making his way up here, and so we'll have him here on our post-game diagnostics. Brought to you by Stacy's Repair. Need a repair? Take it to the ones who truly care. That's Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. The Rebels struck first, but then Gunnison Valley's 14 unanswered, and I think the play of the game for Gunnison Valley has to be Zach Stewart's 95-yard fumble recovery that he returned for a touchdown. 95 yards for the score. The Rebels had the momentum. They were deep in Gunnison Valley territory, but that fumble return for a score made all the difference. Coach Justin Grohl, I've had that mic down all night because I can't even hear myself talk over the PA speaker, but a good game tonight. You guys struck first. You had some momentum. That fumble return was huge for them.
You know, we seem to hurt ourselves on a lot of things. It just seems like we get going and we do something stupid and let everybody get back into it, and then, you know, we fought that for now.
this whole year. So we got to clean a lot of our mistakes up.
The offense looked like it improved by leaps and bounds tonight. Is that a product of you guys are getting better? Is it a product of Gunnison Valley's maybe not as good as Bear Lake and Kanab? A combination of both of those?
You know, I think that it's a combination. We're finally figuring out the line, and we're finally getting some confidence in each other, and you know, so they're doing a lot better that way, and you know, this is a pretty good team, but it's nothing compared to the two teams we've faced before. You know, it's leaps, and we just made mistakes, and that's all we can do is just correct and try to go back and get ready for next week.
Next week is Layton Christian. We'll get to them here in a second. But, Coach, in the first half, you guys defensively, you shut them down. Their one score was a shorter field and then that fumble return. What did they do differently in the second half to really get Brandon Carlson going?
You know, I think we just missed a few tackles, and they had a lead. And, you know, once you miss a few tackles and do it, you know, we had a couple of mistakes that in formations and stuff that they just didn't line up right. And when you start doing that, then it's like, you know, it's the old adage, if you got to get some momentum and stuff, and we got to build our confidence, you know. Yeah. You can see it once they start getting down. We got to do a better job as coaches to get the kids believing in themselves and believing that no matter what we can do it, you know.
Well, a game like tonight, even though you lost, that's got to help build some confidence that you had a lead, you were close on the road, had a good game.
Yeah, you know, we had our chances. I mean, there was right towards even to the end. We had our chances. We just didn't work out for us. Right. So, you know, that's all you can do is if you get a chance, you better take your opportunities because they don't come a lot of time.
Yeah. Gotcha. Now let's get back to Layton Christian and your matchup next week. You're back at home. A team, they look like a team that you can play with, much like Gunnison Valley tonight. If you look at scores, of course, you never know with matchups and how things go. But do you know anything about Layton Christian?
Layton Christian will be big. They always are. He does a really good job of recruiting. There's a couple of big kids that are on the line. They've got a couple of good running backs and stuff, and they got a good receiver that will be able to throw or catch it if it gets in the vicinity. So we got to really try to shut him down, and if we can shut him down and that, we should be able to get a win. You know, we're looking for that first win.
That first win. The confidence thing, obviously, is something you'll continue to try to work on and build all season long. What, based on, and you'll learn more as you watch film and prepare for next week, but just offhand right now, what do you think the biggest thing you need to work on to get better on for next week to try and beat Layton Christian?
We got to hold on to the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, our fumbles, when you're fumbling it, I don't even know how many times, but when we fumble quite a bit, it's just we got to hold on the ball, and then we got to catch it. You know, there was a few good catches, but there was some that we just blew it.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a couple of opportunities and we blew it. I mean, what else can you say? We just blew it.
You blew it, and I laugh more out of just how else do you react to that? Because I'm thinking of Riley Taylor, the ball going right in and out of his hands, and I guarantee he's more mad at himself than anybody. But that's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then we line up the next play, and Riley had a chance to run it in, and he threw it over. You know, that's just an age young. He's a young quarterback. He's going to learn from those mistakes. But that's kind of stuff that we've got to stop. That we got to get better at it, and you know, like I said, he's young. He'll get better at it. We just got to keep working on it through the season. But when the opportunity's there, you better take it, and that's what we're not doing right now.
I hate to keep you if you need to go. Can I ask you one more question?
You bet.
Speaking of Riley Carrillo, you brought him up, and he had a very solid first half. Missed some drop passes and things like that in the second half, but he's a big, almost a punishing runner when he lowers the shoulders. And, I mean, there was one where he broke 3 or 4 tackles, got a first down. That play came back because of a hold. But he's got there's a lot of positives when you talk about him as a passer and a runner.
Yeah, he's doing really well. I mean, he's stepping up. Young quarterback, you're going to have those.
Yeah.
It's kind of like anything. Once you get up to from JV to varsity, the speed increases at least twofold, if not 3 or 4, you know. And so you just got to be ready, and he's learning that. You know, this is his only second game that he's really played in. You know, last one we had him sitting out until the second quarter, so he's going to get better.
Yeah.
It's just the learning curve and stuff. Sometimes the learning pains as a team and as coaches and stuff. They're there right now.
Steep, and they get steeper because you're in 2A playing bigger. Gunnison Valley enrollment 2.5 times bigger than Rich. So
well, yeah, but you have to play in the league you're playing in,
right.
and there's nothing else we can do. So, you know, you have to just do it. And right now, that's what we got to look at, and we can't make any excuses. We just have to go out and say, you know what, tonight we didn't get it done. We got to correct the things and do better. You know, there's some serious learning pains right now, and hopefully we can get over those.
Coach, thanks so much for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Safe travels back home tonight.
Thank you.
Justin Grohl of the Rich Rebels. That's your post-game diagnostics brought to you by Stacy's Repair. Need a repair? Take it to the ones who truly care. Again, a big thank you to Justin Grohl coming up, climbing the ladder, making the effort to get up here and join us on the post-game show brought to you by Epic Recreation. Again, a final score of 22-14. Gunnison Valley earns its first win of the season. 22-14. Oh, no, 22-12. My mistake. It was a 10-point victory for the Bulldogs, 22-12. Rebels scored first, but Gunnison Valley outscored Rich 22-6 the rest of the way after a 6-0 Rebel lead early on. Stay tuned on the Epic Recreation postgame show. We'll give you the precision play of the game brought to you by McKay Frankham Dental Services. We've got the Rebel Sports Update. We'll talk with Rebel cross country coach Aaron Worthland. And also coming up is the Western Ag Credit Roundup calendar when we return on the Wildlife and mylocalradio.com.
When T7 Propane in Woodruff, Utah is your propane supplier, you get reliable, safe, and professional propane service. And that's not all. T7 Propane offers years of expertise, quality product, and the most responsive propane service in the area. For home or other heating needs, cooking, grilling, motor fuel, and more, count on the team at T7 for professional or business propane needs. Call 435-793-4208. That's 435-793-4208.
Is it time to stop wishing for your dream home in beautiful Bear Lake? If you're ready to make your dream a reality, Bear Lake Realty can help with residential and land listings, including vacation properties, timeshares, cabins, condos, beachfront, lake view, and more. Bear Lake Realty has what you're looking for. And with more than 30 years of real estate experience in the area, you know you're working with the best. Visit BearLakeRealty.com and come and enjoy the Caribbean of the Rockies with us.
Back on the Epic Recreation post-game show. 22-12, the final score. Gunnison Valley celebrates homecoming with its first win of the season. And let's see, we got the Stacy's Repair post-game diagnostics. We're in the Epic Recreation post-game show. And some final quick stats for you. The Rebels finished with 169 yards of offense. And the Gunnison Valley Bulldogs finished with a little bit more than that. But they only had 11 rushing yards, or 11 passing yards. And then Brandon Tucker had 177 rushing yards on his own. You take away everybody else's. So let me just do some quick math here. I should have done this during the break, but 11 passing yards and then 177 plus 2 is 179 plus 4 is 183 minus 19 is 164. 175 yards of offense for Gunnison Valley, and 177 of those came via the legs of Brandon Tucker. He finished with 20 carries, 177 yards. That's 8.9 yards per carry. He was big tonight and almost single-handedly, well, at least carrying the football. He had all his teammates blocking for him. That made the difference, but was big. His rushing yards huge tonight. He scored one touchdown as well. Those are some final stats for you. Rich will look to improve and get back on at home next week, hosting Layton Christian Eagles. Let's move along in our Epic Recreation post-game show and hear from Rebel Cross Country coach.
Ryan Steineckert with Aaron Worthland, cross-country coach at Ridge High School. Coach, thanks for your time.
Hey, thank you. It's good to be here.
For the first time in I don't know how long, you got some guys organized. You went to a cross-country meet in the fall. That's great. How did it go?
The expectation was higher, but it's kind of hard to know what to expect early on in the season. And I think overall, though, the feeling that the guys got, the boys' team, we don't have a girls' team, but the boys' team, they felt at a loss. We put them in a varsity race that I didn't realize how many larger teams were going to be there, but even the smaller teams were very, very competitive. So we went there, we pushed really hard. They ran hard. It was a very difficult race. By the end, I had a few of them come back and say that was horrible. Corbin Moldenhauer has, I could almost quote him on how he felt like he did worse than he definitely should have done. So we definitely have room for improvement. The nice thing about this race, which I'm very glad that the districts finally allowed us to have a couple races prior to region and state. So the benefit that comes from it is knowing where we're at and knowing what do we need to do over the next few weeks to prep ourselves for region. So we'll have one more race in 2 weeks at Roy, and then region is about 3 weeks after that.
More of a figuring out of where you're at so that you can grow from there is what it sounds like.
That's basically what we got, yeah. So we understand now we have quite a gap between our top runner and then and then the runner. I'll just tell you, Ben Sellers, he'll be fine with this, but he struggled during the race. He forgot to he didn't hydrate himself, so he struggled a lot and pulled off a 31-minute 5K, which for him he shouldn't be there. So it's something also that was another learning experience. Well, I got to make sure that I hydrate. I got to make sure that I have the nutrients that I need in order to be able to run. So along with the idea of I need to practice harder. So I feel like each of the boys will come with this new mentality starting this week of I'm going to push harder, I'm going to do better, so that when we come to the race in Roy, we can go there and compete a little more than we did in Soda.
From a coaching standpoint, what do you feel? I mean, it seems like you're going back to, this feels like pretty fundamental stuff that maybe just hasn't happened in the past here, but is that how it feels for you as a coach?
A little bit, yeah. I still hope for more opportunities to be able to race more, because the more races that you get prior to region and state, the more opportunities they have to see themselves, critique themselves, and then to make a change. So when we talk about that, it is fundamental for them to be able to see that growth and improvement outside of just practicing and running against each other. They need true competition, which is what happens when we go to these races. So that it has enlightened, I feel, this young team, which that's the other thing, is the majority of them are pretty young. We have 2 juniors and the rest are freshmen and sophomores. And so we have a lot of growth ahead of us, not just this year, but then in the coming years as well.
From a competition standpoint, did Saturday's race encourage you for looking ahead at region and state?
Yeah, for sure. I actually asked the boys, I said, now imagine this was region. It was our first race. What does that really teach you? And so we are definitely looking forward to region and state. It gives me a better idea of where they're at, so that we know how we can compare against Panguitch, which is going to be a tough team. Paiute might be another one. And there are a few others that when we get to state, we have a good shot at top 3, 4 at state, but a lot of it just is going to be determined in what are they going to do in the next month and a half.
Anything else you want to touch on, Coach?
I don't think so. I think that's about it.
Congratulations on getting that going, and your enthusiasm is inspiring. Thanks, Coach Aaron Worthland, Rich Rebel cross-country team. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Ryan. Have a great day.
Thanks so much. It was a pleasure talking with Coach Aaron Worthland and Rebel cross-country team. Again, went to Soda Springs. We talked with Oliver Peart in our Mound Valley Cattle Company, Where Are They Now, in the pregame show, who said that he was one of the first members of Rebel Cross Country going back in 2006 or 7, somewhere in that range. And now, just a few years, 10 or 12 years later, they're getting some meets in, and Coach Aaron Worthland being a big part of that. That's your Rebel Sports update here on the post-game show, brought to you by Epic Recreation. Make your vacation an epic one to remember. Stay tuned. One final break, and we'll be back with your Western Ag Credit Roundup calendar. Western Ag Credit, your partner in agriculture. That's coming up right after this on the Wildlife and MyLocalRadio.com. When it comes to farming and ranching, it makes good sense to work with a lender who understands finance and agriculture. Western Ag Credit is an independent cooperative owned by the farmers and ranchers who borrow from it. With competitive rates, your loan is tailored to match your business needs. Real estate, livestock, equipment, and operating expenses. When it comes to farming and ranching financing, Western Ag Credit in Evanston is your partner in agriculture. Whether you're kicking up dust in the hills, making waves down on the lake, or taking advantage of the world's greatest powder, don't just hope to have fun. Take that sled by the handlebars and make your time at Bear Lake epic. Epic Recreation rents equipment and cabins for your vacation fun at beautiful Bear Lake. From watercraft large and small to UTVs, sleds, and more, Epic Recreation has it all to go on-road, off-road, or out on the Caribbean blue water. Book your adventure at epicrecreation.net.
Back on the Epic Recreation post-game show. Make your vacation an epic one to remember for all your rentals at Bear Lake. And as you may have seen in the ad just moments ago, it's not just out on the lake. Now, certainly, if you're out on the lake, Epic Recreation has what you need. If you want to go up in the hills, whether it's winter or summer, Epic Recreation has all your rentals for Bear Lake area, the Bear Lake Valley. All right, moving along in our Epic Recreation post-game show to the Western Ag Credit Roundup calendar. Western Ag Credit has a food drive going on now. It's the Farmers Feeding Families food drive, and you can help out through October 11th. Drop off your food donations at Western Ag Credit, 848 Front Street in Evanston, and they will match all donations for that Farmers Feeding Families food drive. So stop in, again, 848 Front Street in Evanston, and make your donation today. Western Ag Credit, again, the Roundup calendar, we're looking ahead to tomorrow. Volleyball team for the Royals and the football team for the Royals, both in action tomorrow. The volleyballers at Kemmer, 9 a.m. beginning serve times, and for the football team at hosting Big Piney. Their 7th and 8th grade games, and the kickoff starts at 10 a.m. Also, this weekend, the Rich Rodeo Club continues. There's a Sevier Rodeo and an Emory Rodeo, and those begin both tomorrow at 9 a.m. in different locations. Don't miss University of Wyoming Cowboys tomorrow right here on KADQ as the Pokes return home to War Memorial Stadium with a 2-0 record, hosting the Idaho Vandals. Pregame is at 2 o'clock right here on KADQ. Kickoff tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Tuesday, looking ahead to next week, Rich High School and Southridge Elementary Picture Day is all day on Tuesday, and then Thursday, you've got Rich Middle School Royals volleyball team back in action at Davis Middle School and then at Emerson Middle School. The first match at 5 p.m. with the second to follow, or the additional matches to follow. Also, Rich Middle School Royals football team is at Kemmer on Thursday. 7th and 8th grade teams with games beginning at 5 p.m. Rich High School volleyball freshman team takes on the USDB Eagles, and that's at 6 p.m. Thursday night. Our next Rebel broadcast will be next Thursday when the Rich volleyball team hosts ICS. JV at 6. Our varsity pregame starts at 7 for a 7:30 p.m. kickoff time of Rich versus ICS. That's a big one in Region 22 play. Looking ahead to next Friday, again, the Royals volleyball team in action versus Lyman at 10 a.m. Rich football team next Friday back in action hosting the Layton Christian Academy Eagles. No JV game, but the varsity pregame will start at 3:15 with a kickoff at 4 o'clock. And the rodeo team next week, Friday and Saturday at the Enterprise Rodeo in Cedar City on Friday, and then I believe it's a Cedar Rodeo on Saturday. And then thinking a little bit more about next Saturday, September 21st, the volleyball Rich Middle School Royals are at Green River. The Royals football team at Mountain View. Rebel volleyball team hosts Westside. We'll have the match right here on KDQ. And next Saturday, the Cowboys take on, I believe it's Tulsa in Chapman Stadium. And so the Wyoming Cowboys, though, don't miss tomorrow's action as Wyoming hosts the Idaho Vandals. Again, right here on KDQ. Pregame starts at 2 o'clock with kickoff at 3 p.m. That wraps up our Western Ag Credit Roundup calendar. Again, going on now through October 11th, the Farmers Feeding Families Food Drive. Western Ag Credit is your partner in agriculture, a lender who understands finance and agriculture. Western Ag Credit. Well, that'll about do it for our post-game show, brought to you by Epic Recreation. For all your rentals in Bear Lake, visit epicrecreation.net. Again, a final score, 22-12. Gunnison Valley earns its first win of the season on its homecoming night. The Rebels drop to 0-3 ahead of next Friday's game hosting the Layton Christian Eagles. Our next Rebel broadcast will be Thursday night when the Rebel volleyball team hosts ICS at Rich High School and right here on KADQ and mylocalradio.com. For tonight's videographer, Rebel Holt Argyle, and our producer, Preston Bush, back in the studio, I'm Ryan STEINECKERT. We'll talk with you again soon.
You've been tuned in to Rich High School football on Rebel Radio KADQ FM 98.3 with video streaming live online at mylocalradio.com. Today's game has been brought to you by Auto Farm Chevrolet, Evanston Regional Hospital, by Plains Tire, the Come On In of Casper, by WESTAR Printing and Rocky Mountain Sign, Cash Honda Yamaha of Cache Valley, by the Bear Lake Convention and Visitors Bureau, and by mylocalradio.com. The proceeding has been a wholly owned production of mylocalradio.com and Cook Brothers Broadcasting, no portion of which may be used or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Old West Media. Our executive producer is Val Cook. We thank our office manager, Kayleen Anderson, and our sales manager, Julie Burley, along with Evanston's Elin Olaf, the Valley's Jake Hibbard, and production assistants Preston Bush and AJ Lamb. The biggest thanks of all goes to our sponsors and to you for tuning in. We invite you to visit mylocalradio.com for archived games and past interviews with Rebel players and coaches, and like My Local Radio on Facebook to stay up to date with the games. Thank you for joining us on this presentation of Rich Rebel Sports on KADQ FM 98.3 and mylocalradio.com. Until next time, go Rebels!